where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Brought to you by Sask Lotteries, bringing communities together. Sask Lottery products fund over 12,000 sports, culture, and recreation groups across Saskatchewan. Be a part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The all-new Sportscage. Streaming at sportscage.com and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Welcome to the all-new Sports Cage on this Tuesday. It is for Saskatchewan Lotteries. Barney Shinkerick with you for the next 3 hours. Like the big voice said, we are on 620 CKRM. We are streaming, but now we are live. In the video world, you can go to sportscage.com to video and subscribe to the YouTube channel and check it all out. Busy show coming up today. We got Dave Thomas standing by. We're going to talk Riders. A day off today, but we're going to get into Labor Day. We're going to look ahead to this week in Winnipeg. Also, what else is happening in the wonderful world that is the CFL? We have Cam Moon from the Edmonton Oilers, play-by-play voice of the Edmonton Oilers. Big news, Leon Draisaitl signing today. We're going to talk to Cam Moon about that. Arash Madani joins us in hour 2. As usual, CFL with Arash. And we're going to go into some other things with him. Jordan Lennon, defensive assistant for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. He's going to join us also in hour 2. And then hour 3, let's talk a little Glenn Suter and Prince Albert Raiders. For all you WHL fans out there, we're going to go WHL camping, and our first stop is the Prince Albert Raiders. But voice of the Saskatchewan Roughriders out on the Western Pizza guest hotline. Always a perfect night for Western Pizza. The generous amount of toppings or just the Greek food you love. Salad, souvlaki, all that. Visit your local Western Pizza today. David Thomas, we had you in yesterday. We had the quick little Labor Day show. Today, no practice for the Riders at all. Anything coming out when it comes to injuries? I know a lot of people wondering what's happening on the offensive line again with a couple other guys going down.
Nothing new has come out just yet. That's kind of the thing that we're all waiting for, to find out whether or not there's going to be a rash of signings from Jeremy O'Day or not, to see if there's anybody that can come and step in. I think right now it's going to be what you see is what you get for the Saskatchewan Roughriders moving into the Banjo Bowl. And then beyond that, there's a bye week where maybe some changes can take place, or even better yet, if some of the guys can start to get healthy. But up to this point, nothing has changed.
Do you expect anything on the Miles Brown hit? I know there's some smoke, coming out of Winnipeg, rightly so. Collaros, is he going to play? We can touch on that in a bit. Do you expect anything maybe there, a fine or anything coming, or a suspension?
Well, I hate to, this seems so random at times to me, but I could see maybe a fine coming in because there was some head-to-head contact. And I mentioned yesterday, I watched it, and I've got the utmost respect for Miles Brown in that instance, because to me, and the way that I've seen that, and again, I've got two different angles on the look, to me, he dips his shoulder. So as opposed to leading in with his helmet, he leads in with that shoulder. And that shoulder, to me, indicates that in the split second that we see it, he is trying to avoid the head. Zach Collaros is kind of cringing in the fact that he's bracing for the hit. So in my world, watching this, I think that, because there's so much cry, something has to be done. But if maybe nothing was said, I don't know whether it would be or not. Again, it's such a random thing.
How loud is Wade Miller's voice going to be, right? You know what? I have to maybe eat a little crow a bit. I watched it again last night a couple times, and I can see where the uproar would come, especially from the Bombers. I can see it. When I watched it on Sunday, I thought he did everything to avoid that, keep his arms in, all that. But I did see the head on head a bit. I think I would agree with you. Maybe a small fine. I don't think we're going to see a suspension on it. But again, how big of a deal are the Blue Bombers still going to make this? They've kind of made their point going in. Do you think, and I know there's that 7-day window now, the question's going to be, are we going to see Collaros in the rematch?
Well, first of all, when it comes to Miles Brown, just going back to that hit in the replay for 1 second, right? Think of the number of times that you and I together have watched it. Officials on the field, that all happened in a split instant, and very likely you're like me slowing that thing down. And that is where the problem comes in. You have to judge it at full face value, which is full speed. Now, as far as Zach Collaros, now you'll notice that the Bombers were very careful not to say it's concussion, not to say concussion protocol, not to use that terminology at all.
Yeah.
Instead, saying that it is an upper body injury, at which point the player then doesn't fall under CFL protocol when it comes to concussion protocol, pardon me. So I don't know whether or not we'll see Zach Collaros. If he's healthy enough, I hope we see him play, because he is one of the faces of the Canadian Football League. He's an excellent football player, and he brings with it a terrific level of performance that, again, to me, I really hope that we see it, and I hope that it's not any kind of serious injury.
The back-to-backs, back-to-backs in any sport, obviously tough. It gives you a chance to kind of regroup, maybe throw in a few wrinkles, all that. These are, they're not must-wins, but they're becoming must-wins, like Coach Mace is saying. I wonder if, come the weekend, what wrinkles, and this is just two guys talking about football, what wrinkles that we might see from both sides, but more specifically, because we are a Riders program, from the Riders. I don't think we've seen a fake punt this year, have we?
No fake punts yet. No.
Yeah, like different things like that. Because, it's not, like I said, desperation time, but we need wins. And is it time to start pulling out all the stops? I got to think, early in the year, we saw Mark Mueller with some really, really cool kind of schemey plays, things like that. I feel, we could see the Riders, showing not all their cards, but a lot of them here to try now, because it's getting a little light in the season.
When it comes to a back-to-back, only 46% of the time do teams sweep back-to-back in the Canadian Football League. So it doesn't happen very often. Now, of course, you give yourself a greater chance of success when you win the first half of that on the road, albeit with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. But saying that, I think that the Saskatchewan Roughrider game plan is going to be dictated by who's in the lineup. As when we saw Micah Johnson come in along the offensive line, there's only so many run plays that you can run with a new lineman there, right? Because you're not going to have pulling, and you're not going to be able to do all the nuances that go with being an offensive lineman. So who's available will dictate to what you can do. So again, if you've got a young offensive line, which I would expect with nobody coming back, then what you have to do all of a sudden is you have to go ahead and, okay, how are we going to get the ball out of Trevor Harris's hands? How can we get Frankie Hickson away from the offensive line to make him most successful? How can we maximize what should be the right guard and right tackle position in both Travion Tate and, of course, Logan Furland? Maybe we maximize running the ball to that strong side, that right side of the football. So again, that's what I think what will be dictated to the Riders as far as who's available offensively. Defensively, I think the Riders have a lot that they can build off. Brady Oliveira was really not much of a factor in the football game, so you know that Winnipeg is going to want to get him more involved. So if you're the Riders, you can anticipate that, and you very well will have much of the same personnel back, because it didn't look like they got that nicked up on the defensive side. Plus, the wild card here is that Jackson Ford could draw back into the lineup, which could allow you to have a national coming into the lineup, which then allows you to go ahead and maneuver and massage that ratio if you need to, for example, on the offensive line.
We talked about this yesterday, and you brought up Brady Oliveira. For a while there, if I go to the stat sheet after the game and I see he had 12 carries for 42 yards, I'm like, get out of here. That's insane. Because at times it just felt like it was November football in a snowstorm or wind, and they were just pounding the rock. Now, to your point, the Riders did set up. They made plays when they had to. The other guy was Drew Wolkarski. I'm like, where does this guy's stats land? And just that big body doing a heck of a job. So on the same side of it, right, what is Winnipeg going to throw in that's different? Who's playing quarterback for Winnipeg? That's a very good point, that the upper body injury loophole, not saying anything about, concuss, because then we're looking at seven games. Offensive line, is there anyone that, who do they slot in immediately? Like, I'm sure Jeremy O'Day's looking. Like, he's not just sitting on his hands here. He's got to be one of the busiest guys in Western Canada right now. For just people out there, like, who do you think they can slot in or make a few changes there, Dave?
Well, I think it comes from within, right off the hop.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know if Jacob Brammer is going to be healthy enough or not to go. I'm under the assumption right now that the Riders are going to need both Peter Godber and will also miss Zach Fry in that game. So Noah Zare becomes the automatic that he would fit in. Then the next guy I would assume, if you're looking for an American, would be Nick Jones. And Nick, of course, started a game at right tackle, and then moved to right guard. So those would be the two guys there that I would assume would factor into the lineup right away if you're looking for two offensive linemen. And yeah, again, you have to be doing your due diligence. Like, again, at the start of the year, you could tell that Jeremy O'Day said, okay, I want to go ahead and shore up my offensive line. I want to look at this as an area that I believe I can improve through free agency, through drafting. No one thought that he's going to get down to 11 and 12 on the depth chart, though, when he's building this roster. So that's the work that's going to be in progress. You have to go from, in my eyes, from within. And getting back to your point, and it depends who's playing, talk about the passing game of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They threw the ball 6 times in the second half. I don't think there's a lot of trust in Crest Strevler throwing the rock. And if the Riders' run defense is as good as they've been all year long, it could be a long day for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers if they're not willing to put the ball in the air.
Capital Ford Lincoln text line 306-936-6262. Capital Ford, Saskatchewan's number one Ford retailer. You can always chime in, have your say. The one thing that people, we got one text here, is it's time for Sean Bain Jr. to start squeezing the ball a little more and coming out with coming up with the catches that we need. I think that's a fair criticism when it comes to Sean Bain Jr.
He's not alone, though, because it seems right at the wrong time the Riders have a problem. He wasn't the only guy that dropped a ball back on Labor Day, right? And you can go ahead and draw those 4 or 5 or 6 plays on the whiteboard that you've got in front of you, saying that these were the turning points in the football game. And absolutely, that's how critical the mistakes are that the Riders are making right now. It is razor thin between victory and defeat for this team, and it's been that way in all games except for the one where they hosted Edmonton and the one that they want to get back. But again, it's a razor thin margin that they've got right now. They're a good team, and they know that they have to go ahead and elevate their game in certain areas. But the other thing is, you talked about coaching. It comes to players too, and back-to-back. You can't go ahead and throw everything out. You can't overcoach or overthink yourself. Oh my gosh, they're going to be anticipating this. Well, this is what you do, and this is what you do well, so you got to keep doing it. And so that's kind of the inner battle that I'm sure the coaching staff and the players have right now, is we just got to go out and execute what we do. And the other question mark, too, when it comes to the Riders, can they get the run game going, and will they be aided without Adam Bighill? Because it certainly looked bad when he went down clutching that knee in the third quarter, and they had to resort to a different formation up front when Adam Bighill's not in the lineup, so they could go ahead and try to cover better.
That did not look good at all from where we were. Last thing on the Labor Day game and going in, was there anything? What were maybe the 2 things or 3 things that surprised you in that game?
That surprised me in that game. I was surprised that I thought the Riders would get that natural boost from the crowd and come out flying. Like, I'm not suggesting that they let off the gas pedal, but Coach Mace addressed it after the game. He said, we got to start better. And when you've got all that adrenaline and all that hometown atmosphere built up, I thought that the team would be able to capitalize on that a little bit better. And to me, they seemed a little bit tentative at times, which is why they got off to the slower start in my eyes. And then I think at the end of the day, the other takeaway for me is, again, just guys that aren't rookies. Like, you got Keyshawn Johnson, you got guys like Dante Myers that are stepping up and making plays in big situations and have fully asserted themselves along the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And again, if everybody can go ahead and be that consistent across the board, they're going to be all right. And that was my takeaway, is that, all right, we just got to go ahead and do what you do and don't do any more than that, because if you start trying to do more, you start getting into trouble.
One more from the Capital Ford Lincoln text line. Leonard, he chimes in a lot, so I want to give him some love here. And I don't know exactly what he's talking about, but I'll read it here from Leonard. We're down 5 points with just over 3 minutes left in the football game. Do you think Jason Moss would let Cody Fajardo run the football? We need to let Harris throw the football, play to win the football game. I'm not sure if he's... Was there a design to run there, or that was just Harris taking off?
No, I think it was all Harris taking off.
Yeah.
I don't think there's many Mark Mueller plays that call for Trevor Harris to go in the playbook. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, no, I think, Leonard, that was just everyone, was covered downfield. His check down was covered, and then he just decided to take off, which was probably the good play. Yeah, I don't think Harris, it's like the old Indianapolis Colts or there wasn't a lot of running plays for Peyton Manning. Just let him sit back there and sling it. Shea Patterson goes in. Maybe that's a little bit different. Do you want to stay on for one more segment, Dave? We'll talk some other CFL.
Yeah, I'll be here for sure.
All right. It is the all-new Sports Cage. Not only are we on 620 CKRM and streaming, now you can check us out video-wise. Go to thesportscage.com under video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. On the home of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, 620 CKRM.
The all-new Sports Cage is brought to you by Sherwood Co-op. From locally grown fresh produce, condiments, and Western Canadian beef, your barbecue tastes better when you shop at Sherwood Co-op food stores.
Country Gold with Terry Clark.
I'm Terry Clark, and I hope you'll join me this week for Country Gold. We'll play lots of your favorite country hits from the 80s and 90s, and I'll share my own personal experiences from 20 years of touring. I'll also have superstar guests each week who'll tell you what's going on in their world. Plus, we'll take your calls and requests. So join me this week for Country Gold with Terry Clark.
Country Gold is brought to you by Trent Dickin and his experienced team at Flooring Superstore.
Join Terry Clark Saturday mornings at 6 or Sunday afternoons at 4 on the Voice of Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM.
When you want the best for your truck, you want Line-X. Your truck has withstood the harshest elements Saskatchewan has thrown at it. Rocks, gravel, rain, sleet, and snow, and left with no chips, no rust. Line-X protective coating keeps your truck's bed liners, rocker panels, and bumpers looking like brand new. Don't settle for Brand X. Go with Line-X. It's serious protection. Come see why everybody loves taking their truck to Line-X Regina for their rocker panels, bumpers, and more. Line-X. Make your truck complete. 1865 McCarra Street.
The grocery store, work, taking the kids to soccer and back home again. Your family makes a lot of stops every year, tens of thousands. With each stop, you're counting on your tire's grip to stop you safely. The new Michelin Premier AS tire has excellent gripping power on wet roads, even when worn. Michelin, a better way forward. Make quality tire with 9 locations in Saskatchewan. Your next stop, and get the expert service you deserve.
Visit Michelin.ca for details.
QualityTire.ca.
Barrels of fresh produce grown locally.
Mustards and condiments made locally.
And Western Canadian beef, aged 14 days.
Your barbecue tastes better when you shop at Sherwood Co-op food stores, offering more local products than any other grocery store.
While stocking the national brands you love.
Plus, member benefits let you share in the equity.
Get your barbecue meat cut in-house, your way.
I like my way.
Get more local flavor for your barbecue.
At Sherwood Co-op food stores, your truly local grocery store.
We are members.
We are owners.
We are Sherwood Co-op.
Give your crop the best chance for success with Power Rich Fertilizer.
For over 40 years, Power Rich Fertilizer has been supplying farmers with high-quality nutrients. Higher quality, more plant availability, letting you apply less product. Less handling, less filling, more seeding. Have our agents come to your farm to discuss the Power Rich advantage.
To discuss your fertilizer needs, call 1-800-663-GROW or visit PowerRich.com. Power Rich, the future is right in front of you if you're ready for it.
The all-new Sports Cage. Text 306-936-6262. 620 CKRM.
Back in the Sports Cage, like I said, streaming now into the world of streaming. Sportscage.com if you want to check us out, we'd appreciate that. We're trying to get the numbers up. It's just all a numbers game when it comes to that. Don't forget, you can always get in on the Capital Ford Lincoln text line at 306-936-6262. And Dave Thomas is still with us on the Western Pizza guest hotline. Dave, I know you're jacked about this. It's the ultimate football road trip with Engelheim Tours and the Sportscage. We're sending someone to Houston, we're sending him to Minnesota to watch Houston and Minnesota. That'd be a long bus ride down to Houston and just keep going right into the Gulf of Mexico. It is September 22nd in Minneapolis. Texans in town with Engelheim Tours. We got a little shopping at the Mall of America, the football game. We are giving away 2 seats on this. We're giving it away Friday at 5:30. Today's keyword. Easy one. Bus. B-U-S. Bus is the keyword. Text it in 936-6262. And good luck if you just want to get on that trip. Remember, you can go to engelheimtours.ca, get all the information, and see the pricing and everything there, how reasonable it is. Dave, so many people texting in, trying to win their way on that trip. Minnesota, maybe not the sexiest of teams this year going into the season. I'm really curious on those Houston Texans, though.
And the Houston Astros, I'm very excited about the Minnesota Twins and the Houston Astros. Sorry, I just went into baseball mode there. But, yeah, that would be a pretty good – Have you been to that ballpark? Have you been to the ballpark in Minneapolis before?
No. I was going to go to a concert. What is it? It's Target Field? Is that what it is?
I think they changed the name, but yeah, it's pretty much the same, but it's all windows on the one side. It's incredible, but I've heard different things about it, and I've never had an opportunity to go. It's on the bucket list.
The football field.
Yeah.
Yeah, the football's,
windows.
The football's got the glass. Yeah, when they had the Super Bowl there, it was an amazing, February look.
Yeah.
Being in a cold dome atmosphere. Yeah. No, I thought you were talking about the baseball park, which I think is still Target. A lot of people go down there to watch the Blue Jays play every year. And then from Regina, now that you're back down here, I know you're from Weyburn, is a lot of people do that Minot, hop on the Amtrak, and then you go overnight, have a few sociables, maybe catch a nap, then you're in there, early morning, go tour around, go to a baseball game. I know a lot of people that have done that. But yeah, engelheimtours.ca, and the keyword today is bus for the trip. All right, I want to get your take on the Nathan Rourke Farhan Lalji clip. Colson, do we have it? Colson's going to let it fly.
Nathan, 16 of 20, almost 250 yards and a couple of touchdowns.
We're up 31-6. That's all I really care about. Thanks, Farhan. Appreciate it.
All righty. On that note, A, I know Farhan is somewhat tight with Nathan. B, I thought that was out of character from Nathan Rourke.
Well, there's a lot of fans on social media that are calling it offside. I can understand why. And again, I guess you have to know the relationship and the rapport between the two. If there's one person that's really upset, that's TSN, because TSN wants to promote Nathan Rourke and the Canadian Football League, and they want to promote the fact that he's playing in his hometown, or at least where he was born. So to me, I think there's a little disappointment, and I think as an athlete, there's a little bit of a responsibility that you need to answer the question. Like, things were going well. If they were going bad, okay, I understand. You can be frustrated, you can be upset, but they were going well. So, wow.
And then let's put our broadcaster hat on, and I know you've done a lot of interviews from sidelines, whether it's CIS, CFL, all that. Even though, and I really like that people out on the Capital Ford Lincoln text line or on Sportscage on Twitter, they are saying that, well, those interviews are garbage anyway. And a lot of, yes, they are. It's like hockey on the bench, like as if Rod Brindamore wants to be doing or John Tortorella, even worse. But then you've had, you see the coaches in the NFL that have to do it, and CFL as well. Timing, as you know, is so key for those things. But at the end of the day, and if they're weak interviews and there's not a lot of substance there, whatever, that is still the obligation to the TV rights holder.
Well, whether you like it or not, absolutely it is. And you've been in this situation like I have. I'm sure you can recall a time where, again, you're doing a live broadcast and you get fed that answer, right? Because it's the toughest thing for a reporter, because you're going into what you know, especially if it's on a losing team, into what's going to be a hostile environment.
Yeah.
Right? And I won't name the hockey coach's name, but very well-known coach in the Western Hockey League. First ever interview that I did. Again, it was kind of a bit of a drubbing. And I said to said on the interview, hey, what was the difference in the game? Thinking it's a softball, what could possibly go wrong? The answer, they scored more than us. All right, then. We'll go back upstairs to you.
Can you give me a hint so I can guess on that coach?
No.
No?
This
Okay.
coach might be listening right now.
Oh, all right. Well, that's actually not a bad hint at all. Yeah, no, it's a really sticky situation. Farhan's such a veteran, up here. But yeah, it's not the greatest spot to be in. At the end of the day, though, if the league is telling, or if TSN's telling the league, hey, we need access to a coach into the halftime, out of the halftime, whatever it is, pre-record it, whatever. Or a player, hey, that's... And then the fact that Campbell allegedly said to Rourke that you won't have to ever do one again. I don't know if you make the call on that.
See, and I don't know how that works, but there were some coaches that very much wanted to control that message that went out. So they would take it upon themselves to do that halftime interview and not have players do it, while others are okay. It all depends. And again, how would you like... So just to take a complete aside, right? So obviously tough for Farhan. He's in an awkward spot, but also tough for the communications people, right? Because they work so hard behind the scenes and they line up these interviews, right? So the players, everybody's well aware of, hey, this is coming. So too are they. And so hey, here's Nathan. He's ready for you. You get that answer and then you're like, okay, we're in trouble.
Yeah, it's not easy. All right, let's get to the other games. I should have sprinkled on Bo Levi Mitchell. Guy doesn't lose on Labor Days.
No, he is sensational. And I tell you, over 400 yards passing once again. And Scott Milanovic still didn't name him the starting quarterback at the end of that game. Like, I still cannot believe how those two are operating together. But Milanovic is pretty happy when Bo Levi gets all those stats and they get the win, even when it is or isn't Bo Levi's fault. That relationship seems so toxic to me, but I guess that speaks to the professionalism of both, right?
It is. And there's always, it happens in workplace as well, where you have employees that achieve, or they're great employees and they're just glue. But then they rub the boss the wrong way, or vice versa. And there's just that toxic, for lack of a better term. But you got to live with it. And at this point, you have to live with Bo Levi Mitchell and not naming him the starter. I think that's an awful look. But really, another great game for the CFL entertainment wise.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Toronto looked like they were going to be just absolutely run out of Tim Hortons Field, and they came roaring back. So it was pretty good watching the fan engagement. A sold out Tim Hortons Field looked pretty interesting on TV as well. And it'll be interesting what happens is they're going to have to wait for the rematch a week, because a bye week, of course, is going to factor in here for one of the two teams. But again, you got to give Hamilton credit. They do what they do on Labor Day.
Yeah. I caught bits and pieces of the Edmonton-Calgary game. Edmonton, heads up. Edmonton's for real. They go into Calgary and win.
Can I just go ahead and say, do you remember someone on this program saying that the Edmonton Elks are the best 0-7 team in the history of football? They are not a bad football team. They just did what the Riders are doing right now. The Riders are a good team. They're just making that mistake on execution at a critical time that kept them in the loss column, being the Elks for the longest time to start the year 0-7. McLeod Bethel Thompson loses his job for doing his job, very similar to what Bo Levi Mitchell did. And now in Calgary, all of a sudden, again, let's face it, Dave Dickinson, he has been on Jake Mayer, of course, from the get-go, right? Because they moved Bo Levi out to bring in Jake, who they thought was going to be the next guy. And right now they're using the words embarrassing. They're talking about how they don't know what they're going to do in their game coming up this week at Edmonton. Like, good grief, that does not look good in Calgary right now.
I thought you were going to say one guy on this program said the Edmonton Elks should fold. Because that sounds like something I would have said when they were No, you know what? Much respect to Edmonton. And yeah, the games were close. Again, same thing with the Riders. Like you said, I was going through the schedule last night, and I was going, okay, that Edmonton game, a massive egg. Let's throw that one out. Deserved to lose. The game in BC, game of inches, probably could have won that game. I think the game in Montreal that we came out gangbusters, easily could have won that game. Deserved to win, maybe. The Montreal game here, again, like there hasn't been Ottawa, the weather was a factor there. Like you look down that schedule and it's like, yeah, and then you look at the remaining games and it's like, it's getting a little light here. Obviously, we got the rematch in Winnipeg this weekend, then the bye week, Calgary, September 20th. You know, how's Calgary playing going into that? So much can change in 2 weeks for that football team. If injuries and the CFL this year has taught us anything, it's you can't even look ahead for 2 weeks on what kind of team you're going to play. Then the Red Blacks come here. I like that as a Rider win. Then we go play this Jekyll and Hyde-ish Edmonton Elks team who's surging. Maybe, everything's on the table there. An October 5th game in Edmonton, nice cool weather. Those are always classic. Think back to the Tracy Ham shootout days. Then the Lions are here, Thanksgiving long weekend, October 12th. And then we end with Calgary at home. Like this is, I said it before, and it's not probably being the homer that I should. It's been really entertaining. If it's entertainment that you want, you just watch a CFL game this year.
Oh, the Riders haven't been out of any of the games. And again,
No.
you broke down the schedule appropriately. And the two things that stand out to me, number one is the obvious. The Riders control their own destiny. No matter what, they're playing the rest against the West, except one trip from Ottawa coming in. So the Riders control where they're going to end up this season. That's number one. Number two is that Calgary series could become pretty critical. And if it does, both times the Riders play Calgary, they're coming off bye weeks. So the Riders, you'd have to say, have a little bit of an edge there in the fact that they're going to have some rest. They're going to have some time to recuperate. And of course, that bye week that's coming up after the Banjo Bowl before the first Calgary game, I think is going to be massively critical to find out where this team is at.
Who's in the lineup? Who's, on the offensive line? All right. I know you're new in Regina, and the boys are a little bit older. First day of school. A lot of people out there listening to it was a busy day for all you parents out there. We get it. Probably not emotional for you, but was it hectic? Any kind of fun stories come out of the day?
Out of the day today? No.
Yeah.
But
Okay,
when my kids were younger, I had the kid that ran away from school. So notch that one up on my records. That was awesome. Seeing the little head running up and down across the community rink as he tried to escape in day one of kindergarten. That's one that'll stay with you.
That's a classic. All right, Dave, you're back at it tomorrow at practice. We'll catch up with you then. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Take care. Talk to you soon.
Voice of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Dave Thomas, joining us on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline and on the stream. If you're watching out there in Videoland, sportscage.com. When we come back, we're talking NHL hockey. Leon Draisaitl, an Edmonton Oiler for a number of years. All you Oiler fans are looking forward to that. We're going to be joined by voice of the Edmonton Oilers, Cam Moon, on the all-new Sportscage on 620 CKRM.
Sask Lotteries has 50 years of winning behind us. And you know what that means? Lots of winning numbers. Numbers like over 1,200 organizations funded and 12,000 plus groups supported. $6 million given away annually in community grants. And the winningest number of all? $1.4 billion given back to the people of Saskatchewan through sport, culture, and recreation. And we're just getting started. Help us grow the next 50. Learn more at sasklotteries.ca.
Hey Rider Nation, this is Dave Thomas, voice of your Saskatchewan Roughriders. Listen to this. How does a 50-50 payday sound? Sounds like a win to me. Huddle up to riders5050.ca and you can purchase 50-50 tickets for every Rider game, home or away. You can even score quickly with the early bird prize. This week it's a trip to Nashville and you'll be in for the massive weekly jackpots. Buy now at riders5050.ca and support amateur football in Saskatchewan. Sponsored by ISC. License LR 2426.
In the summertime when the weather is fine, you've got groceries on your mind. Your favorite grocery store, Crawford's No Frills, is now open from 8 a.m. till 9 p.m. for all your summer shopping needs. Check out their weekly flyer and visit nofrills.ca for all the hot deals to match the hot weather. They also now have DoorDash, so you don't even need to leave your air-conditioned home to get your groceries. No bells, no whistles, no frills. Crawford's No Frills. They won't be beat.
Back to the all-new Sportscage. Text 306-936-6262. 620 CKRM.
I know some of you maybe got a little bit confused because we're getting some texts here on the Capital Ford Lincoln text line. The key word today for the Engelheim Charters Ultimate Football Road Trip is bus. That's an S. B-U-S. Somebody texted in Bud. It's only 3:40, so we're a little early on that. So bus is the key word today. Lots of football there. Let's get into hockey now. Let's go back out on the Western Pizza guest hotline. A guy who always salivates when we talk about Western Pizza and that Greek food, that Greek pizza, the goodness. Cam Moon, voice of the Edmonton Oilers, joining us. Cam, did your stomach rumble a bit there?
Oh, you got me all fired up here. Yeah, that's wonderful. Little Western Pizza action. What a great way to maybe cap off your afternoon.
Yeah. I know you've been Oiler guy for a few years now, but you know the Pats just had their blue and white game last night. We're going to talk to voice of the Prince Albert Raiders a little bit later. Moose Jaw Rabbit. Do you this time of the year and you know this September, do you still must get the WHL buzz a bit?
Absolutely. There was something about when you got to the end of August, beginning of September, and training camp was starting, and you know when you were a player, you go back a little bit early and skate. You know, you skate out to Gemini 4 in Saskatoon and get ready for camp, and then camp would start, and you'd be all exciting because everybody's back, and you know you're excited because you haven't seen everybody for the whole summer. So yeah, there was that feeling, and then in my many years in Red Deer, I'd get fired up that the season was about to get going. And I can't say that I was like pining for the preseason all that much, but I do like when you get to the regular season, maybe more so. But yeah, there was something about that time of year, and I guess it's something I've done for a really long time, just being in hockey, and you get that now at the NHL level. It's just a little bit different. That's all.
Cam Moon, if you don't know, played in the Western Hockey League as well. Saskatoon, he played Nipawin Hawks, played Alberta Junior, then he played Saskatoon, played a little stint with Medicine Hat, right? Then back to Saskatoon. Is that how it went?
That is correct. Yeah. Yeah, that's when you know you're really good, Barney, is when you bounce around to that many teams.
But I was going to say,
highly coveted.
That late August trip to the Gemini in Saskatoon, which was a new rink back then. It was like the hot 4 sheets, right? And I can't remember if Dave Strush's Camaro had T-tops or not, because they would have been off this kind of weather right now.
Well, my Camaro did have T-tops.
Oh, there we go.
And they would have been off at that time of year. Strush's, I'm not sure if he did or not, but that thing had way more jam than mine did.
Yeah. Exciting day in Edmonton. The one thing that I read, and rightly so, Cam, this deal was done like last week. They were going to announce it, and then everything that unfortunate, what happened with the Goudreau brothers, they held off Class C, the right move, to today.
Yeah. I read something to the same effect, so I'll take that at its on its own merit. And last week I was co-hosting Oilers Now on Friday, and that was a tough show. And we had Ryan Leslie on from Calgary who hosts the games on Sportsnet, and he did a great job of talking about Johnny Gaudreau and his brother. And yeah, it was tough. Yeah, I agree. It was the right move to wait until today. Today has been a big day in Oilerland, and I think a lot of fans are pretty happy.
The term, were you surprised that length?
No, I really felt that Leon wanted a max term deal, and from the Oilers' point of view, if you can wrap up one of the best players in the NHL for that term, you're going to do it. And I know both sides were motivated to get a deal done, so I wasn't worried that a deal would get done. I figured it would, because when you enter a negotiation and both sides want the same thing, really, you're just coming down to figuring out the dollar amount, and once they got that figured out, away we went. So yeah, it's good to see. I mean, that doesn't kick in until after this season, but of course at that point there'll be an extension for Connor McDavid that will be discussed, and Evan Bouchard, although still in RFA, will require a new deal. So yeah, still some work to be done. I mean, Stan Bowman talked about that today in his media availability.
What does this do for the team, do you think, as far as now, even though it's not no state tax and sunny and all that, but some of these free agents or guys that are looking, I would think Edmonton's in play to go and try and win.
Well, I think a classic example of this, is when you saw Adam Henrique come to the Oilers via trade last year, close to the trade deadline with Anaheim, plays the rest of the season, plays the playoffs, fit in really well, really enjoyed his time, becomes a UFA in the summer, and then, as it's reported, took less money to come to Edmonton, or stay in Edmonton, I guess it would be, because Adam enjoyed it and knows that this team is right there as far as being competitive, right in the mix with anybody else in the NHL that you have in that top 4 or 5 teams. So that's part of it. I think the vibe within the room is very good, and that's part of it. The way that players are treated here, the building, the fans, I think that's all part of it too. And if you followed the playoffs last year and the Oilers run to Game 7 of a Stanley Cup final, and even just watching from television and seeing what it was like in downtown Edmonton on a nightly basis, I mean, that's, as a player, I mean, what more do you want?
T-roofs. Maybe T-roofs.
Yeah,
right?
T-roofs. Hey, never knock the T-roofs. If I could have that Camaro again, Barney, I would.
I almost... And I know with the players union and there's a lot of stuff like that, but I wonder, how many side conversations, text groups there are out there where it'd be kind of cool, I've always said, for hockey to start like the Miami Heat thing when LeBron and, Chris Bosh, and they went down to play with Dwayne Wade and a bunch of buddies and all that. I don't mind that happening in hockey. Let's start seeing it.
Yeah, I think it's a little more difficult. In the game, you need more players for hockey. And with it being, I don't know what the cap situation is in the NBA. I have no idea. But the cap situation being what it is in the NHL is, you're pretty limited as what you can do as far as, how many big time players you can have. They would all have to be, you'd have to get them all on board. And I think this might be difficult of taking, much less to keep you all there. That might be a little more challenging. But I hear what you're saying. I think it might be a little tougher, though.
What's the next piece, ideally, for the Oilers? I know, there isn't a lot out there right now. They need, a right-handed shot defenseman, ideally, in an ideal situation. And then what do you think realistically happens?
In an ideal situation, they get a right shot D. and get one that can play in the top 4 and be steady back there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's going to happen. Maybe there'll be a PTO or two come in and see if somebody can earn a contract. What I think will happen is that I think there'll be a PTO or two of right shot D, but you also have to find out what you have. Ty Emberson comes over in that deal with San Jose. He's only got 30 games under his belt. That was last year, and by all accounts, showed quite well.
What do you see? What do you see from him?
I see potential, but I'm going to need to see training camp day in, day out to have a way better idea of what. I would say going into it, I'm optimistic that he is going to find a spot on that right side. Same with Troy Stetcher, a guy who had injury trouble late in the season. But what can he bring on that right side? And maybe those two to start the season are the right side along with Evan Bouchard. But that remains to be seen, and maybe a PTO, somebody comes in and earns a deal. But that's kind of, to me, that's what I'm going to be watching really close in training camp to see how that all fits. I mean, the forwards, to me, that's pretty much set. And I would say obviously the goaltending, that's set too. So that right side on the D, that's going to be something we'll all be looking at.
Are you following, shifting gears, are you following the Edmonton Elks here and what they're doing? Can't win a game, and now it's like, hold up.
Well, okay, Barney, let's be honest. I know they were 0-7, but they were finding ways to lose games, but they were still competitive. They were moving the ball. I'd say the defense struggled a little bit early, and then it started to get a little better. And now they've won 4 out of 5. The one game they lost was to the best team in the league, and barely, like they were right there. It looks to me like they got 2 pretty good quarterbacks. They have 3 pretty good running backs. I like the receivers. The D was pretty good yesterday. And they're right in the mix. I mean, you look at that West Division, that's anybody's division, which makes it a lot of fun. Winning in Calgary on Labor Day is even more fun. I've been following it close. I'm a season ticket holder. I go to every game. I go early. I stay late. It becomes an all-day affair. Sometimes it slides into the evening, too. Well into the evening.
I'm curious to see what kind of crowd they get this coming weekend.
Yeah. Well, I think it's going to be probably I think it'll be their best of the year.
Yeah.
And if the weather is good, it'll even be maybe even a little bit better. The fact that they're competitive now, it makes a huge difference. I mean, we've got through the ownership stuff. That's all come down, but it's and the fact that they're playing Calgary and you just won on Labor Day, I think all of those things, they trend well. I think they're going to have a good crowd. This is going to be the one game, Barney, this is going to be the one game, like I'm going to miss Saturday's game because I'll be coming back from Nipawin because I've got the fundraiser. Louis DeBrusque and I are going to Nipawin this weekend.
Oh, are you taking the golf clubs?
Yeah.
Oh, what a golf course up there. What a track.
I can't wait.
We're
doing a thing. Yeah, Friday night. Where I'm getting Louis, I'm going on stage and I'm getting Louis to tell stories.
Nice. Oh, I know the last time we talked, it was pre-Metallica. You weren't going, but then I saw the videos from Pink, like the beer sales and concession sales at Commonwealth Stadium this year. They won't be able to. I hope they're factoring that in for next year's budgeting. That place was, if it was packed for Metallica, for Pink, it looked like it was the opening ceremonies of the Olympics.
It was unbelievable. I don't know a lot about Pink, and I'm not going to lie. I was a little skeptical that she'd be able to come into Commonwealth and fill Commonwealth. Again, this is just my own ignorance. As it turns out, she did just fine filling it. Everybody that I've talked to that went said it was absolutely amazing. So I will never underestimate that again. Yeah, I guess she did a great job. Tremendous show. So to have Metallica play 2 nights, fill it, and then the next weekend Pink comes to fill that stadium. Love to see it. And I guess that's the benefit of having that building is you can have those really big events that in Western Canada there aren't a lot of options.
okay, so it's first, I don't know about there, first day back to school today here. So both my Rugrats left, all that. Do you remember going back, any funny Cam Moon going back to school, first day of school? Maybe it was back when you were playing with the Blades. You had to go, what is it, Marion Graham you guys all went to?
Yes, that's really, yeah. I've got one from Nipawin.
Okay, even better.
So, even better. We had already played a preseason game, and Dave Pidlupny, one of my teammates in Nipawin, but one of my buddies from Edmonton. We grew up together. Well, we played minor hockey together, and he was a big, tough dude. And, if you look up his stats, you'll see some PIMs there. Well, he got into a little ride on the Tilt-A-Whirl the night before in a preseason tilt against the Humboldt Broncos. And as a result, sustained a black eye. So Dave and I are going to the high school in Nipawin on the first day just to, get registered. So I wanted to take some classes and, upgrade some marks and stuff, and he was going to do the same. And what else are we going to do? So we get there, and Dave's 6'2", 210, big dude with a black eye. And we were walking down the hallway, and, we're both Edmonton city kids. This is a whole different being for us, being in the small town, the small school. And of course, everybody there, they grew up with each other. So everybody knows everybody. Nobody knows us. And I'm walking down the aisle with Pidlupny and his black eye, and he's a monster. And it was like a parting of the Red Sea. It just went, and I'm walking down. I got a big grin on my face. I'm like, wow, these poor kids have no idea what's going on, who this hooligan is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember it was good. It was good. We had fun. We quite enjoyed our time.
You're always fun here, Mooner. Congratulations for your Edmonton Oilers. Exciting day there, and let's chat maybe preseason here. Unless anything else comes up, always a pleasure to have you on.
Okay, yeah, please have me on. I would love to come and talk hockey, football,
Western
Saskatchewan, Western pizza. Yeah. Shenanigans. Yes.
Right on. He is the voice of the Edmonton Oilers on the radio side. Cam Moon, WHL grad, all that. This is the all-new Sports Cage on 620 CKRM.
Greetings, football fans. The ultimate football road trip. NFL football is back. The all-new Sports Cage and Engelheim Tours are sending you to Minneapolis on the ultimate football road trip to see the NFL's Minnesota Vikings play the Houston Texans. Weekdays at 3:30, listen for the Engelheim Tours football keyword. Then text it to us. The more keywords you enter, the more chances you have to win. The grand prize includes deluxe motor coach transportation from Regina, hotel, and tickets to the game at US Bank Stadium. For trip details or to buy your own ultimate NFL football road trip, go to EngleheimTours.ca.
He's at it again. Matt's sharpening his pencil to save you more money at Matt's Furniture. Want to level up your washer and dryer pair with Maytag? Get the Maytag top load washer and electric dryer set with wrinkle prevention for $1,598. Or get the larger Maytag washer and electric dryer set with quick dry cycle, just $24.98. Purchase either and get a free year supply of Swash detergent. See in store for details. Matt's Furniture in Fort Capel, Kamsack, Melville, and Foam Lake, or online at mattsfurniture.ca.
The largest selection of pre-owned trucks and SUVs is at Capital GMC. The GM Certified Truck Sale is on right now. Over 170 pre-owned trucks and SUVs, GMC, Chevy, Fords, Rams, Toyotas, gas and diesel, available at the lowest prices. And all GM Certified vehicles come with roadside assistance and a 150-plus point inspection. The massive GM Certified Truck and SUV Sale at Capital GMC on the corner of Rochdale and Pasqua in Regina. CapitalGMC.ca.
2S Auctioneers Equipment Auction is open for bidding and starts closing Tuesday, September 3rd at 6 p.m. This sale features the estate of Jim Namath and others. Tractors IH 1086, 3588, 6588, 806, Ford 8600, 1680 and 1688 combines, 1999 Freightliner deck track, 22 Polaris side-by-side, 69 GMC pickup, quads, scrapers, and more. Register and bid at 2sauctioneers.highbid.com. 2S Auctioneers online auction house in Indian Head.
Be prepared for what Mother Nature throws at us because we never know what kind of wild weather is in store. Shorty Generators is authorized and trained to service all the major home standby generators, offering the largest selection of generators in Saskatchewan. Generac, Kohler, Champion, Cummins, and Briggs & Stratton. Now is the time to get your generator serviced and ready for the upcoming storm season. To book your service or to learn more about generator maintenance, visit shortygenerators.ca. The generator experts.
It's 4 o'clock. Good afternoon. It's mostly cloudy and it's 33 degrees in Regina. I'm Corey Atkinson from the Harvard Media News Center with 620 CKRM News for Sherwood Co-op Liquor Store, now open in Harbor Landing and on Rochdale Boulevard, and by Mercedes-Benz Regina, for those who can. Mercedes-Benz-Regina.ca. China says it is extremely dissatisfied with the recently announced Canadian tariffs on Chinese-made electric vehicles, steel, and aluminum. The country promises to take the case to the World Trade Organization, saying it will take all necessary measures to defend the legitimate rights and interests of Chinese companies. China has announced an anti-dumping investigation into Canadian canola imports in retaliation for the 100% tariff on Chinese EVs and a 25% tariff on steel and aluminum announced by Prime Minister Justin Trudeau last week. The Canola Council of Canada says it is confident that an investigation will reinforce its support for rules-based trade. Today, Lieutenant Governor Russ Morasti and Provincial Secretary Don Morgan are honoring recipients of the Saskatchewan Protective Services Medal during two ceremonies in Regina. This medal recognizes personnel with 25 years or more of exemplary service in Saskatchewan's protective services. This year, 192 individuals from rural and urban communities will receive the award. Recipients come from various emergency services, including police, fire, corrections, and the military. An additional ceremony will be held in Saskatoon next Tuesday. The head of the United Nations nuclear watchdog has described the situation at Europe's largest nuclear power plant as very fragile, following fresh attacks near the site in central Ukraine. Rafael Grossi says the International Atomic Energy Agency must be objective.
This is a very serious international crisis, and people expect the IAEA to take sides and to criticize A or B. For us to be relevant, to be useful in this situation, we have to keep engaging, we have to keep our work technical and objective, and this is what we do.
The Zaporizhzhia plant, which came under Russian control in the wake of its full-scale invasion of Ukraine, saw artillery shelling in the area yesterday that damaged the facility's power access. And a rise in popularity of marathons across Canada is attracting scammers online. The scammers are using people who are inexperienced with the system to transfer bibs as an easy way to make money. Transfer bibs refers to the official number that identifies each racer. One newbie marathon racer says she was scammed multiple times in a Facebook group where people sell bibs for sold-out races. And finally, fans of Game of Thrones can now battle it out themselves as 2,000 items from the series go up for auction. Costumes, props, set pieces, and memorabilia from HBO's hit show are now available for bidding through Heritage Auctions. Notable items include costumes and props used by actors Emilia Clarke, Kit Harington, Lena Headey, and more, and memorable swords, scrolls, maps, and other crucial props and set pieces. It's 4:03, and that was your 620 CKRM News. Weather is next.
Style, performance. Upgrade your daily driver to the new 2023 Mercedes-Benz GLB 250. This SUV packs a punch with features that make a normal drive exhilarating. The ultimate in automotive luxury can be yours for $419 bi-weekly. The friendly and knowledgeable staff at Mercedes-Benz Regina will help you find the exact model you want. Take a test drive and feel the difference. Stop by for an award-winning experience at Mercedes-Benz Regina, recipient of the Star Dealer Award.
Barrels of fresh produce grown locally.
Mustards and condiments made locally.
And Western Canadian beef, aged 14 days.
Your barbecue tastes better when you shop at Sherwood Co-op Food Stores, offering more local products than any other grocery store.
While stocking the national brands you love.
Plus, member benefits let you share in the equity.
Get your barbecue meat cut in-house, your way.
I like my way.
Get more local flavor for your barbecue.
At Sherwood Co-op Food Stores, your truly local grocery store.
We are members.
We are owners.
We are Sherwood Co-op.
Now it's time for your 620 CKRM Precision Weather Forecast for Line X Regina. Sirius Protection, Killer Looks, 1865 McCarra Street, and by Wolf Industries. Your truck repair specialists in Grenfell, servicing all sizes of trucks, SGI accredited. Some evening rain showers possible in spots tonight and otherwise partly cloudy skies, some smoke in the air at times, and a low of 12. Tomorrow, cooler and breezy with a mixture of sun and cloud cover and a high of 22. And on Thursday, pleasant with a mix of sun and cloud again and a high of 22. At this hour in Moose Jaw, it's cloudy. Winds are from the west at 18 and it's 32 degrees. Regina is mostly cloudy. Winds from the west at 19 and it's 33 degrees. Get news and information anytime through the CKRM app or stream online at 620ckrm.com.
Whether Smokey's after you or not, when you're on the road in your big rig, you're in a hurry to get to where you're going, and you need a part shop you can trust. Wolf Industries is the premium choice. They're your family-run truck mechanic shop with a full line of parts for big semis, with certified AC technicians for the hot summer. Stop in at their Grenfell location for all the parts and repairs you need. They're SGI accredited for safety inspections and have 24-hour emergency call-out. Wolf Industries, the best for your truck. 10-4.
When you want the best for your truck, you want Line-X. Your truck has withstood the harshest elements Saskatchewan has thrown at it. Rocks, gravel, rain, sleet, and snow, and left with no chips, no rust. Line-X protective coating keeps your truck's bed liners, rocker panels, and bumpers looking like brand new. Don't settle for Brand X. Go with Line-X. It's serious protection. Come see why everybody loves taking their truck to Line-X Regina for their rocker panels, bumpers, and more. Line-X. Make your truck complete. 1865 McCarra Street.
Saskatchewan, it's time to talk sports. The all-new Sportscage is on the air. For the millions of telephone users like yourselves. Be part of the show. Call 936-6262 or toll free 1-866-767-0620. And we're always online at sportscage.com. 620 CKRM.
On Tuesdays, the Sportscage is for Saskatchewan Lotteries, the main fundraiser for over 12,000 sport, culture, and recreation groups in the province. I really start helping that whole cause this weekend with NFL football and playing Sports Select. I love the paper tickets. Playing online is great. Playing at a sports book, probably second best, but that cashing in that paper ticket still takes us all back to our youth. Speaking of winning, if you're trying to get in on the Engelheim Charters trip to Minnesota to watch the Vikings and the Houston Texans, 936-6262, Capital Ford Lincoln text line, 306 area code, and the keyword today is bus. B-U-S, bus.
The all-new Sports Cage and Coast to Coast with Arash Madani is brought to you by Smart Investing Solutions. Be smart with your money. Call Brian Golly at Smart Investing Solutions, 546-2533.
Arash, we're doing this streaming thing. Today's the first day. Sportscage.com. People are going in and subscribing YouTube, and now they get to watch us video style. You look nice and cozy there in your house, getting ready for. Is there anything? What's good on TV tonight that a guy can sprinkle on? Is it straight baseball?
Straight baseball. I'm a tennis junkie, so you have the quarterfinals of the U.S. Open tonight.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm a lifelong Vikings fan. How am I only finding out about this contest by listening to the show? What's happening around here?
Well, text in bus, and you're in to take a bus from Regina to Minnesota, but then that means you got to fly to Regina. Then I think you should just meet the crew in Minneapolis. Let's be honest. Yeah, that's right. Who's your quarterback again this year?
Sam Darnold. J.J. McCarthy blew out his meniscus. I will admit, having just gone through the 53-man roster and taking a look at the Viking secondary, I'll pass watching on C.J. Stroud come in to U.S. Bank Stadium. I have seen this script so many times before.
The tailgate, though. Think about tailgating. Late September in Minnesota. Oh, that'll be beautiful. Okay, first off, let's start with it definitely didn't disappoint, entertainment factor-wise. The Labor Day Classic in Regina, not the outcome that us Rider fans wanted, but it was a classic.
I don't know if in a span of 20 football seconds, especially the final 20 football seconds, you could script up a finish that would include a touchdown, a 2-point convert attempt, a successful onside kick, a pass interference call, and a game-winning field goal attempt. in 20 seconds. Like, you talk about a parlay you want to hit. That, like, I don't know what's in the water. I don't know what's in the atmosphere. There's something about Labor Day on the prairies where it just all kind of comes together from that entertainment standpoint. I hope no one's upset at my pal Brett Lawther, even though we're not friends. We're just from the same hometown. A 60-yarder is pretty much impossible. But that was just a wild finish and worthy of this game that just continues to live up to the billing every year.
I would have taken that parlay action though if it was out there.
Sure.
That would have been a wild ride there for 20 seconds, wouldn't have? I love that. No, and for Lawther, like I said, maybe I wasn't fair on him in the post game. I said, well, he doesn't have that in his leg anymore, and then rightly so. Not many, if maybe one guy does in the league.
Maybe. I would say there might be 3 on the planet who do. Like there are 32 teams in the NFL, I would suggest to you that 28 wouldn't have made that kick. Like that's like the human body's only capable of so much.
And I think the thing, there's no solace in this fact, but you watch it, it is a perfect kick. Like it is straight, it's on the screws, and it's going right down the middle. It wasn't that like shanky where they try and hit it low trajectory to try and get it through, and then someone blocks it and all that. It was as straight. It was like the Tecmo Bowl kick that falls up short. It just tried to kick it from too far out, and it just dropped. It was right in the middle. So I don't think we can be too hard on Brett. Speaking of hits, maybe if you're listening in Manitoba, you don't like that segue. The hit on Collaros, was it dirty?
Yes. Here's the problem. There's 2 problems to this. This is now the 3rd straight Labor Day where a Saskatchewan defensive player has hit Zach Collaros in the head and late. First was the Garrett Marino debacle, then Pete Robertson, who got suspended for a game last year, Barney, you may remember, and now this thing. And we have not seen a word from the league office on the Miles Brown situation. Last year, Robertson was suspended on a Monday. It's now end of day Tuesday, so I don't think a suspension is coming. But
what do you think's fair? What do you think's fair there? What would if you can play commissioner or you could play Punisher?
This is a great conversation. I'm glad you brought this up. What is the Canadian Football League doing to protect its quarterbacks? Do you think in 10 million years that Patrick Mahomes would get whacked in the head 3 consecutive years in the same game against the same opponent, and it's crickets for 48 hours afterwards? Think of what meal tickets are and think who sells tickets. They're not selling Miles Brown jerseys in the Riders store, but they're selling Trevor Harris jerseys, and they sold Darian Durant jerseys, and they sold Kerry Joseph jerseys. They weren't selling Pete Robertson jerseys. No one's paying to watch Miles Brown. The franchise, there's a reason they call it franchise quarterback. They don't call it franchise pass rusher because the entire franchise hinges on the health of the quarterback, and the health of the league hinges on the health of the quarterback, which is why Nathan Rourke got $800,000. This league is continuing to show it doesn't give a bleep about the health of the quarterbacks, and it is just absurd on how they continue to operate this way, Barney.
I just looked up, and I could put 6 Miles Brown jerseys in my cart from the Riders store, so there's still 6
there you go.
Available.
How
I'm
many
just
do you think
I'm
they'll
just
print
joking.
Yeah.
That might be any Brown. It might not even be Miles.
Sure.
Let's go the West. Like I look at the Riders' remaining schedule. I just went through this with Dave Thomas. Okay, I'm going to ask you. Okay, we'll play this. We'll play the game. You tell me. You tell me win or loss. Okay, so I'm going to pull it up. Chikai. Give me a second here. Okay, so let's start.
Winnipeg first in the Banjo Bowl, right?
So, okay, let's go there first. Is that a loss?
Well, is Zach Collaros starting or is Chris Streveler starting? That probably answers your question, doesn't it?
You don't think they win if they play Streveler?
No, God, no.
I think. Okay, let's say Stravler starts. Let's say Calero starts.
If Zach starts, I give advantage Winnipeg.
Okay, so then the Riders are
possession arrow Blue Bombers.
Riders are 5-7. Okay, then they got the Stamps on the 20th in Calgary.
Riders. I don't know if the Stamps win another game.
Okay, so then they're 6-7. Then they got the Red Blacks at home.
Coin flip.
You got to pick one. You picking another tie? Oh, I take that action. 2 ties against Ottawa this season. I'm on it. 1 unit.
You know what? Why not? Why not? I'm also betting that there won't be a random guy given a credential by the league office going to scream at Bobby Dice on the sideline.
Rough Riders in Edmonton. October 5th.
So I will answer this question by giving you this take. I'm picking Edmonton to go to the Grey Cup out of the West.
Wow. Okay, so Edmonton wins there.
The
Lions.
last place team from just a few weeks ago that fired its GM and fired its coach. Somehow, some way, they're built for cold weather. Sometimes lightning in a bottle. I like a lot of what I'm seeing from the Elks right now. They're an explosive offense, and their defense can cause turnovers. They caused 5 yesterday.
You just have a bunch of stories banked already that you want to follow this team through the playoffs into the Grey Cup and do those stories. I know you're smart. That's what you're thinking. Okay, so last 2 games, Lions come to Mosaic Stadium.
I think BC rolls them.
Whoa! And then Calgary doesn't win another game, so the Riders win there. Okay, you're hard. You're hard on our boys there. So you're thinking Edmonton is going to the Grey Cup. So they're the most dangerous team in the West?
I think Edmonton is the team that gets into the playoffs and gets on a roll. They've kind of started this roll right now. And here's the thing, let's remember when the Argos won the Grey Cup just 2 years ago, McLeod Bethel-Thompson was their quarterback. The year before, when they were the dominant team in the division, McLeod Bethel-Thompson was their quarterback. They ended up getting tripped up by Hamilton in the East Final. I just think that MBT is a kind of under-the-radar guy, even though he's incredibly accomplished. And this is an offense that is really starting to cook. And I just would not want to play them in November.
Arash Madani is joining us on the Western Pizza guest hotline. If you're watching the stream, sportscage.com, you can see us both there. Now we're streaming as of today. Let's leave. You know what? I got one more football one for you.
Sure.
Bo Levi Mitchell on Labor Day. What is going? I said to Dave Thomas, why didn't I wager on that?
Right.
You just can't bet against him on Labor Day.
Yeah, it's a good point. And Bo kind of just turned the clock back, something that he hasn't done in a long time. And it just, if you close your eyes for a second, you would have thought this was Bo Levi Mitchell circa 2017 again. That was like, if you're a football fan, that was awesome to see. Just a guy who was, especially the way he started the game, just slinging it. What do you have, 265 at the half or something like that?
Yeah.
It was cool to watch. It's not sustainable. The Tiger Cats aren't a very good football team, but at least for that game and that rivalry. And the other thing it does, Barney, it blows up the East Division because it kind of felt like the Argos had turned the corner. Chad Kelly's back. They're not in striking distance of Montreal, but they're in striking distance of a home playoff game. Ottawa's right there. Then all of a sudden that happens and you're saying to yourself, oh boy, okay, well now what?
Yeah. Hockey. Let's go to hockey. Leon Draisaitl. Today is the day in Edmonton. We just had Cam Moon on a little bit ago, voice of the Edmonton Oilers. Your take on the Draisaitl contract?
I would say this is the most important day in Oilers history since they drafted Connor McDavid.
Wow.
And that was a foregone conclusion anyway. I guess since they won the lottery to get the first pick for Connor McDavid. That's what I should say. Because here's a franchise that has never really been able to keep the band together since the 80s, basically since Gretzky left.
Yeah.
And now finally you have Lennon and McCartney. They've both decided to stay together. It's Montana and Rice. It's, it's peas and carrots. It's Bert and Ernie. Whatever you want to say, the duos, Mahomes and Kelsey.
Hall & Oates.
Hall & Oates. There you go. This is vital because if this team is going to contend for a championship, it has to start with those two, and those two being committed and those two being locked up long term. And naturally, the question came to Leon today about, okay, well, now is it Connor's turn to, return the favor with a long-term extension? And you have to believe that McDavid is now going to be more compelled to. This signing does more to keep this core together than any other you could imagine. And that's why, to me, it's so important, Barney.
I can't believe we passed up Simon and Garfunkel there. Apologize to both of those guys. Does this make the Oilers the Cup favorites now? I'm looking on my betting site right now. They are the favorites here for a future.
I think it's going to be I'm saying this with Florida having reached the Cup final and then lifted it. I think the most difficult thing to do in sports is repeat.
Oh, yeah.
The Denver Nuggets were so far and above the best team in the NBA in 2023, they get bounced in the second round this year. You go so deep into the playoffs, your offseason doesn't really begin until late June, and then you have to start all over again. A lot of stars align for the Oilers to do it. Now, what's Colorado going to be next season? What's Dallas going to be next season? What's Vegas going to be next season? I don't think there is a favorite in the West right now, to be honest with you. And I think the Oilers are going to be really tough sledding only because of how difficult it is to have such a shortened kind of off season to go do it again.
The Toronto Maple Leafs, the site I'm looking at, Toronto Maple Leafs and the Vegas Golden Knights have the same odds to win the Stanley Cup. Sorry, Haley.
Do you know how insane Leaf fans are? Today I went somewhere. And they're talking about the Draisaitl signing. And the guy said, I saw a video of McDavid and Matthews on the ice together, and I started to think, oh man, this is going to happen. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like on what level of delusion do you have to be in thinking that McDavid and Matthews are going to hook up in the next year or two in Toronto? Come on, Barney. Like this is what we're dealing with in this market. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's Oilers, just going back to the odds. Oilers are the favorite, followed by the Panthers. Again, hard to repeat. Colorado, plus 1,100. I don't mind that action at all. And Dallas, plus 1,200. So, so many deals at the trade deadline, all that. That's I haven't looked at NHL futures for a while, so I'm glad I just pulled that up. Okay, before we let you go,
yeah,
back to school here in Regina, Saskatchewan today, and around Saskatchewan, it's back to school. What's Arash Madani's favorite back to school story?
Oh, that's a good one.
For me, it's grade 9. I was terrified. Pepe jeans, Pepe shirt, big black thick belt, biked, parked 2 blocks away, locked it up somewhere real random because I didn't want to lock it up at school. I was Michael Jordan duffel bag.
Michael Jordan duffel bag.
But I would
say my
scared.
Favorite years were for sure grade 12 when you feel like you just own the school.
It's yours.
Second year, I know it's not school, but second year university, when you just can't wait to get back because the first 2 weeks are just one party after another. Like, I remember leaving my summer job and everyone's like, you're in the best mood ever this week. I'm like, because I get to go to summer camp at the end of summer, So those would be two for me.
What university did you go to?
I went to Bishop's University, small little Quebec school. And
where is that?
Lennoxville, Quebec. So an hour and a half south of Montreal on the Vermont border. There was one traffic light when I first got there. There were 2 traffic lights when I left. And we bought Lucky Lager beer at the Esso for $8.99 for a 12-pack.
On the Canadian side, or did you go over to Vermont to get?
No, on the Quebec side. And Barney, this was before cell phones, evidence, or rules. So we had ourselves a time. And whenever some of the college guys get together, we're like, man, thank God social media didn't exist then.
Oh, Lucky Lagers, Arash Madani's beer of choice back in university.
$8.99 for a 12-pack, my man.
It's a good deal. All right, let's gather. Let's regroup on Thursday.
Sounds good. See you then.
Always fun. Coast to coast with Arash Madani for Brian Gawley, Smart Investing Solutions. Maybe you're watching that on the stream. We are streaming now. Sportscage.com. We're still on 620 CKRM. You catch everything on there as well. All right. If you missed it, Engelheim Charters trip to Minneapolis to watch the Texans and the Vikings September 22nd. Busload going down. Going to be a lot of fun. You can win your way in, or you can just go and buy it. EngelheimTours.ca. The key word today for all you playing at home is bus. B-U-S. Still a lot to come in the program. We're going to be joined by Roughriders coach. Oh, tough day. I know. This one's always tough. Jordan Lennon is going to join us in a bit, as well as we're going to talk a little Rams and Thunder. Big football weekend coming up for our Regina teams. It's all new Sports Cage on the home of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, 620 CKRM.
The all-new Sports Cage is brought to you by Bronco Plumbing and Heating, where professional service is guaranteed. They'll treat you right. 781-2090.
This is Country Gold with Steve Harmon, your home for the country hits of the 80s, 90s, and 2000s.
Hello, I'm Steve Harmon, inviting you to join me for Country Gold. Each week we play country favorites from the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, and we check in with the stars who made them, too. This weekend on Country Gold.
Country Gold, brought to you by Trent Dickin and his experienced team at Flooring Superstore. Saturday mornings at 6 and Sunday afternoons at 4 on the Voice of Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM.
Hi, Bronco Plumbing and Heating.
Is it true? Can I rent my water heater with Bronco again?
Yes, we rent water heaters again.
You've been asking for it, and after 5 long years, water heater rentals are back at Bronco Plumbing and Heating. You'll get the same great service you expect from Bronco with a rental cost that makes hot water affordable.
How soon can I get it installed?
Saskatchewan's best water heater rentals from Bronco. Call 306-781-2090. BroncoPlumbing.com.
Hey Rider Nation, this is Dave Thomas, voice of your Saskatchewan Roughriders. Listen to this. How does a 50-50 payday sound? Sounds like a win to me. Huddle up to riders5050.ca and you can purchase 50-50 tickets for every Rider game, home or away. You can even score quickly with the early bird prize. This week it's a trip to Nashville and you'll be in for the massive weekly jackpots. Buy now at riders5050.ca and support amateur football in Saskatchewan. Sponsored by ISC. License LR 2426.
When you have a big job on the go, always head to Prairieland Rental for everything from skid steers to excavators to jackhammers. You'll get everything done with equipment just from Prairieland. You won't need to go anywhere else. And at Prairieland, you deal directly with the owner. They're very local and very Sask. They appreciate your local business and they've got everything you need for your projects. They'll even deliver. Prairieland Rental, 600 Albert Street. PrairielandRental.com.
Pizza! Where's it from?
Kids, it's not delivery, it's...
No, it's definitely delivery. It's from Western Pizza. Mama's had a long day, so she ordered online, poured a glass of Happy, put her feet up, and waited for the doorbell. There's also Caesar salad, lasagna, chicken wings. Oh, I got lots, so we can have the leftovers tomorrow and the next day. Western Pizza. Big on toppings, big on taste, big on convenience. Get it delivered today.
Let's roll.
Don't miss a minute of the all-new Sports Cage. Podcasts are posted at sportscage.com. 620 CKRM.
Welcome back. The all-new Sports Cage on 620 CKRM. And now we are streaming. If you want to watch it, I'll go down. Sportscage.com is where you go. Always text in if you have any questions, comments, anything on the Riders, the Draisaitl signing, all you Oiler fans. A lot of fun there. Capital Ford Lincoln text line is 936-6262. One thing I wanted to mention here, if you're out there listening, maybe you're harvesting. I know lots of people out there still getting the crop in. High school football starting this weekend, a lot of places. We're going to have the cool little story later in the week of the Indian Head, the new field out there. So Indian Head going to be playing. I can't remember who they're playing. We're going to talk about that later in the week. But if any of your, I want to say 9-man, 6-man, even 12-man high school football teams, if you want us to do a little shout out, a little mention for you guys and all that, make sure you send that in. You can go to sportscage.com, send it in that way. Send it in the Capital Ford Lincoln text line, 936-6262. Really want to give some love to the 9-man, 6-man, just football all over the province. Saskatchewan Roughrider Foundation 50-50. Did you guys buy a ticket? Coulson, Curtis, you guys didn't buy a ticket for the Labor Day game? Was it just over 1.2 million, Coulson?
Yeah, 1.2 million.
Yeah. Matt, we had Maz on yesterday, and his wife was disappointed he didn't win. It's it's not easy. It's not like somebody put in the hard work, and it's kind of tough.
That's how many tickets then? Every time it goes up, you're just losing odds. So
it'll be another big one for the rematch, just because you can buy them online. So that's what I'm telling you here. You want to go to riders5050.ca, get your tickets. If you get it before Thursday at 5:00, you're in for the Nashville getaway. So what it is, includes flights, obviously, to Nashville, 3 nights accommodations for 2, a Grand Ole Opry day trip, and shuttle transfers. So you can go to Nashville, or you can take $4,500 cash. So that's the early bird. You get it all at riders5050.ca. So much fun. Regina Rams football. How about a big shout out to the Rams on the weekend? Brendan McGuire, great job calling the game, pulling out the win in Calgary. This weekend, the Rams and the Huskies. That one's going to be real interesting. We're going to talk about that as we go along here. Obviously, also, Regina Thunder, Saskatoon Hilltops, the two front runners, really the two only runners. If you look at the schedule, they've been hammering everybody. They're going at it Saturday, Libel Field, 7 p.m. Thunder and Hilltop. So like I said, high school football starting around. We got this going on. We got the Banjo Bowl, NFL starting. If you're a football fan, college ball, so much football going down right now. It is awesome. When we talked earlier with Dave Thomas, the one thing I was going to mention to Arash, we're running out of time, is I wanted to get his take on the Nathan. We had to do it on Thursday on the Nathan Rourke interview, because I know some people have texted in the Capital Ford Lincoln text line about that and mentioning on socials. Yeah, I think he's got to step up and do the interview. And they're not the greatest interviews. We know that. Somewhat boring, but it's part of the gig, as they say, and TSN pays a lot of bills. So TSN was expecting it, and he brushed off Farhan. Do you have it again, Coulson? Can we play it again if people didn't hear it? No? Yeah. I'll let you cue it up. It was at the Touchdown Pacific, which we're going to talk to Glenn Suter about in a bit. Suits was obviously calling the game. If you watched it on TV, it was a pretty cool atmosphere. I want to know if they how many people would have got in maybe last minute, like standing room. It was a great venue. Atmosphere looked awesome. So we're talking to Glenn Suter in hour 3. We'll talk about that. If you missed the Rourke clip and how he brushes off Farhan Lalji like bad dandruff, here it is.
Nathan, 16 of 20, almost 250 yards and a couple of touchdowns.
We're up 31-6. That's all I really care about. Thanks, Farhan. Appreciate it.
Yeah, a little out of character from that. I didn't expect it. So a lot of people talking about that, not happy with how Rourke handled it. You can have your say if you want at 936-6262. It is the all-new Sports Cage. If you're joining us on the stream, thank you very much. Sportscage.com. Video is where they want to go, right, guys? Right, fellas? Video, and then subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you can check it out. And it's always available on the home of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, 620 CKRM.
Summers in Saskatchewan can get toasty. Make sure you're ready with the new Bryant air conditioner from Bronco Plumbing and Heating. When Bronco installs your new Bryant air conditioner, they'll only send qualified, courteous, professional tradespeople who will do the job right, including the cleanup. Keep your home comfortable by only using the best. Bronco Plumbing and Heating and Bryant. Whatever it takes. Call 781-2090 today. Bronco will treat you right. And that's a promise.
Hey Rider Nation, this is Dave Thomas, voice of your Saskatchewan Roughriders. Listen to this. How does a 50-50 payday sound? Sounds like a win to me. Huddle up to riders5050.ca and you can purchase 50-50 tickets for every Rider game, home or away. You can even score quickly with the early bird prize. This week it's a trip to Nashville and you'll be in for the massive weekly jackpots. Buy now at riders5050.ca and support amateur football in Saskatchewan. Sponsored by ISC. License LR 2426.
To Auctioneers, equipment auction is open for bidding and starts closing Tuesday, September 3rd at 6 p.m. This sale features the estate of Jim Namath and others. Tractors IH 1086, 3588, 6588, 806, Ford 8600, 1680 and 1688 combines, 1999 Freightliner deck track, 22 Polaris side-by-side, 69 GMC pickup, quads, scrapers, and more. Register and bid at 2sauctioneers.highbid.com. 2S Auctioneers online auction house in Indian Head.
Rider Nation lives on 620 CKRM. I'm Dave Thomas, voice of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Saturday is game day as the Riders take on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Countdown to kickoff with Justin Dunk is at 11 a.m. Pre-game shows at 1, and kickoff with Luke Mullender and I is at 2. Saskatchewan Roughrider football on the Cooperators Roughrider Radio Network is brought to you by Bayer Crop Science, Sask Cancer Agency, and McDougall Auctioneers. Stream every minute of Rider football at sportscage.com.
Fall is here, so don't miss your last chance for a great deal on a Kubota mower. Get great financing and cutting-edge performance every time with a powerful Kubota mower and be the envy of the neighborhood. See your Kubota dealer for details.
The all-new Sports Cage. Be part of the show. Call 936-6262 or toll free 1-866-767-0620. 620 CKRM.
It's the all-new Sports Cage. Welcome back. Barney Shinker, Colson Schultz here with you today. If you're joining us on the stream, on the radio, or on the video stream now at sportscage.com. We're going back out on the Western Pizza guest hotline. And lucky enough to be joined by Jordan Lennon with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, defensive assistant coach. Jordan, I know it's tough today. It's supposed to be a day off, and you're hopping on the radio. But Sunday, you guys are back at work and all that. But Sunday still sting?
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. Haven't gotten over that one yet.
On the defensive side of the ball, how do you assess how your group played?
You want to be a glass half full, half empty. So, you look at all things and consider all things. But I think objectively looking at it, we played well. Didn't play to our standard per se, but I think we played well. Especially down the stretch in the second half of the game, when the game was on the line, gave ourselves a chance to try and pull it out at the end. But I think we had some self-inflicted stuff early in the game that kind of put us in a deficit or in a hole and made it hard for us to climb out of.
Did they do anything early that might have surprised you guys, or was it just execution, game plan early from them that kind of got the jump on you guys?
I think it was, again, speaking to the self-inflicted stuff, I think it was a lot of execution on our part. I think, we didn't execute the game plan that we had set out from the onset. And it wasn't anything specifically or schematically that we saw that we hadn't prepared for, but just, thinking that in certain situations, the calls we were making were going to work, or maybe that we could get home with certain things or certain pressures, and it just not being executed the way we needed it to be in those moments. And, hats off to those guys in Winnipeg for executing when it mattered and making those plays when they came to them.
As coaches, how do you try and prepare the guys that haven't played in that Labor Day atmosphere at Mosaic Stadium? Some of the new guys. As coaches, what do you guys say to them? Do you try and curtail it a bit, or do you let them have the emotion and get out there? Because it was an absolutely buzzing atmosphere, as it should be. How do you guys get the guys focused on that?
I think for us, obviously as a first-year staff here, and a lot of us getting to experience the Labor Day Classic for the first time, on the field and at the field level, I think we just try to lay it out for them as far as what it is and what it means, not only to the city, but to this province and to this organization. I think we kind of underline that throughout the week. And then, we do various things in practice, like, pumping crowd noise in and things like that to kind of help, prepare the communication and things like that. But I don't think, you can replicate the environment of a Labor Day Classic. Obviously, even as a coach, you got to see it firsthand over the weekend, and it lived up to the hype, but it also kind of exceeded any expectation, just given the complete fandom and pandemonium of sound that was going on throughout the stadium from the minute we came out on the field for the warm up to the last play of the game.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's a good look behind the curtain there. All right, how do you explain? He's not a spring chicken either. How do you explain what Micah Johnson's doing, being able to play on both sides of the ball?
Yeah, all hats off to Micah, man. He's been everything that we needed him to be in every situation that we've needed him. Not often are you a guy that's a veteran in this league and been doing it for over a decade, and then, in the thick of things, asked to flip over and play on the offensive line against a very good and a very veteran team like a Winnipeg. He stepped in and, in multiple plays and multiple moments and helped our O-line, be able to facilitate the offense the best that we could. And even just how he approached it, it was hey, whatever you need me to do, I'll do. And watching the film back after the game, even then, it didn't look out of place. He didn't look like he didn't know, what was going on, even though he, had very limited reps on the offensive line.
I'll be shocked if you say you've had this while coaching in the pro ranks, but when's the last time, you go to your junior, maybe your college days as a player or as a coach, when's the last time you've seen a guy play both sides of the ball?
It's not something I've seen. I can tell you that. Been around ball for quite some time, but even in my experience, I've never seen anything like that. And not only to do that in a game at the professional level, but a game of that magnitude, and also to do it, like I said, with a smile on his face, a willingness to do it, and didn't look out of place. He got in there, and without knowing, the calls or the nuance of our offense, he got in there and guys, whispered to him what he had to do or where he was going, and he did it. Got off the ball and blocked guys, and and it wasn't blocking slouches either. He was blocking some players that have, had success in our league. So it was good to see, and like you said, I haven't seen it before, and hopefully we don't have to see it too often, but, all hats off to Micah.
It's unbelievable. Like I said, there's a lot of 9-man and 6-man ball here in Saskatchewan where athletes play both sides of the ball, even in the 12-man where you see it once in a while. But at a pro level, pretty cool, I must say. I don't want to get you in trouble. I don't want to get you fined by any means. But just out there for the Sportscage listeners, explain how hard it is in this day and age for, the hit on Collaros, unfortunate. He got injured, had to leave the game. How difficult is it for those guys with such massive bodies to control themselves? Because it's not a video game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I think you nailed it. It's tough in those situations, in game situations, when the bullets are flying, when it's, real time, real speed, to try and be able to, maybe redirect or to peel off or to fall to the side of. And a lot of these things that I think, for whether it's listeners or just that, average fan, those things happen literally in a 1 to 2 second, increment, and it doesn't stop. It's hard to stop a player, let alone, a bigger body, a 300-pound man that's running full speed in one direction and have him try to redirect in those situations. So, it's not easy. It's not something that, sometimes you can control. I think a lot of the time our players and players in our league in general try to do the best they can given those situations and given how fast they happen in real time. But you can't always do that. And I think as long as there's the intent to try and, minimize the hit or the contact, that's the best you can do given the circumstance.
Great answer, Jordan. Great answer. That was perfect. Okay, back-to-backs. How do you coach as coaches? How do you guys, prepare for back-to-backs? What's the key?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. You're trying to find the balance of being able to, give guys, give our entire team the time to recover and regenerate and get healthy or, feel a little bit better than they felt coming out of the game. But you also know that you have work ahead and you got things that you need to prepare for and things we need to correct and also just little things or, tweaks that we have to make to offense and defensive play calls or special teams play calls and making sure that we have those things in place. So, on a shorter week with a quick turnaround, you tend to try to have not too much go in. You want to have, the base stuff already in and feel good about it, maybe make a tweak here or there, like I said. But as far as, the week itself, you're really just trying to make sure guys get their legs back, but also that we're, correcting the mistakes and making sure that those aren't glaring anymore. And then also making sure that we see the looks we need to see to make sure that, going into this next game, because both teams are going to bring, some different wrinkles or some changes or different play calls, making sure that we have those, kind of ironed out throughout the week of practice. You don't want to go in and have those be called in a game and that be the first time that you actually see it in a live situation. So we try to get that through the week of practice. And outside of that, the biggest thing is, specifically in our case, is you want to make sure everyone makes it to the game and there's no chance of any, freak injuries or freak accidents or anything like that. So it's a very delicate and very fine line for sure. But, we try to do the best we can.
Okay, this is a total compliment. I've seen you in the coach's booth. We're next door broadcasting, and I'm like, oh, who's that young guy in there? Maybe a student, something like that. It's like, no, that's Jordan Lennon. You're a running backs coach for the last couple of years with the Elks. How did you get this gig?
Yeah, I mean, had the opportunity to join Coach Mace. Coach Mace is a good friend of mine. Known each other for the better part of 15 years, I guess. And just, throughout your time coaching, as you coach in this league or coach at the higher levels, you build relationships and you network and you know people. But certain opportunities come about, and my situation in Edmonton was a great one, great learning experience and all of those things. But when the opportunity, to join the staff of a good friend, a person that know does things the right way and has a very, great understanding of what the future of football looks like, and also is a coach that's done it at a very high level in this league, and the opportunity presents itself, you don't usually let those pass by. So for me, when I had the opportunity to join the staff, it was a no-brainer for me to come to a place where, football matters, where football is paramount, and to an organization that's, historically, what the Riders have been, I was not going to pass that up. So for me, it was an easy, transition or opportunity to take advantage of, but it came about because of Coach Mace and the opportunity afforded to me by him and JL.
All right. I wanted to ask you this, maybe closing on this or one of the last ones. Jordan Lennon joining us, Saskatchewan Roughriders coach. I saw that you were a recruiting coordinator with your time at Simon Fraser. Now, I know the football program has changed at Simon Fraser, but when you go recruiting, and Simon Fraser played, in the U.S., how crazy that recruiting has changed things, with the NIL and different things like that. It's wild where it's gone.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, obviously my time coaching at the collegiate level, recruiting is a part of the game or a part of the job description. And I enjoyed it. I think that part of the job has always been fun to me, even at this level, being involved in personnel or helping out with personnel when I can is always something that's been of interest for me. But yeah, the landscape itself, especially in college football, especially in the U.S. and the NCAA, has changed dramatically. I was joking with a good friend of mine who's actually coaching down south at a major D1 program right now. I said, I don't know if I could do what we did in our time at SFU now, given the change in the landscape with NIL and with the money that's kind of being flowing through the higher levels of college football. I think it's great. I think there's a lot of positives in it because a lot of that money, can help a family or a student athlete change their lives. But I also think there are negatives and drawbacks with it as well. I think there's going to be at some point, a reassessment of everything that's involved with NIL because there is a lot of negative things that go on behind closed doors to, entice an athlete to come to whatever program. But I also do see the benefits of, kids now being able to use those NIL opportunities to maybe it's get a vehicle or maybe it's supply a teammate that doesn't have something with, some stuff. So there's a lot of positives. I don't know if I could handle it on a day-to-day basis like some of these college recruiting coordinators or coaches do now, but it's definitely a different and a unique time to see the transition to college football, especially down south.
Unless you were getting a ride, right? Then it's like, oh yeah. Hey, coach is getting a ride. I'm all good on that. Producer Colson's got a question for you here, Jordan.
Absolutely.
Hey, Jordan. So I read about, I think it was a month or two ago, I saw this article about you doing Madden stuff. You were one of the guys doing the motion capture for Madden. So I'm curious what your experience was like doing that. And do they still call you up to do some of the new maybe college football games?
Yeah. It's funny. It's funny you ask. Actually, Rob Van Solon, one of our team historians, had asked me about that recently. But I've been extremely fortunate to be a part of the Madden team for the last few years. I've been doing it since 2016. Man, I'm getting old. Since 2016, and it's been fun. It's been a unique opportunity that honestly I thought maybe I would only do one time ever, and I've been able to parlay that into several years and be a part of the franchise that I grew up playing as a kid. So in that regard, it's been really cool. And I do still talk to the producers. Obviously, when we're in season, it is a little more difficult. But luckily, in the off season, when I'm home back in Vancouver, where I'm from, if the opportunity presents itself and the timing matches up with the shoot dates and things like that, I do get called back to do some stuff for the current, it would be the upcoming year of the game. And and then as far as college football, I've been afforded the opportunity to work on that. We were kind of a part of that first group of mocap athletes that were working on that project. It was originally greenlit, then it was shelved for a couple of years, and then was greenlit again due to some legal stuff that the NCAA and the EA franchise had to work out. But when it was all said and done, when the project was a go, and now obviously it being released, it was really cool and a unique opportunity to be a part of that as well. So extremely fortunate, extremely lucky, and I definitely I'm appreciative of that.
That is so cool. All right, quick one to end it. NFL season starting here this weekend. Who's your NFL team?
I don't know if I want to say this. I might get booed for it, but I'm a Broncos fan. I inherited that one from a young age, so I'm a Broncos fan. They play the Seahawks this weekend. If I was home back in BC, I'd probably go to the game, but I'm gonna be silently rooting here from my office.
hey, you know what? Yeah, you're gonna have a lean year. I'm a Patriots fan, so we're both in the same boat. We can make plans for January and February.
There it is.
That's a good one. Hey, Jordan, I know it was an off day for you guys. You're extremely busy. Appreciate you hopping on today.
No, I appreciate you guys having me. Thank you.
Right on. Saskatchewan Roughriders defensive assistant coach Jordan Lennon. That's cool, Colson. Good catch on that. I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that. Yeah, Madden. Wow. Yeah, that EA
That'd be
Sports.
Fun.
It is the all-new Sports Cage. Thanks to everyone who's watching the stream, our inaugural stream today, sportscage.com. And if you're listening, as always, on the home of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, 620 CKRM.
Greetings, football fans.
The ultimate football road trip. NFL football is back. The all-new Sportscage and Engelheim Tours are sending you to Minneapolis on the ultimate football road trip to see the NFL's Minnesota Vikings play the Houston Texans. Weekdays at 3:30, listen for the Engelheim Tours football keyword. Then text it to us. The more keywords you enter, the more chances you have to win. The grand prize includes deluxe motor coach transportation from Regina, hotel, and tickets to the game at US Bank Stadium. For trip details or to buy your own ultimate NFL football road trip, go to EngelheimTours.ca.
You say
move,
and your cows say you tell them
your water is right over there,
and they say you can't convince a cow to move to the water, so move the water to the cows with the Keln Solar Livestock Watering System. With the Keln Solar Livestock Watering System, you can put your pump pretty much anywhere without the cost of hooking up to the grid. Learn more about the Keln Solar Livestock Watering System at kelnsolar.com. Keln Solar, we move water.
Whether you're needing a part to fix up your trailer, an accessory to make your life easier while camping, or want someone to service or repair your RV for you, Affordable Trailer Sales is the place to go. We have it all covered, from a large selection of parts and accessories to service bays to get you fixed up quickly and out camping again. Book your appointment or stop in today. Affordable Trailer Sales. Price is in our name.
Style. Performance. Upgrade your daily driver to the new 2023 Mercedes-Benz GLB 250. This SUV packs a punch with features that make a normal drive exhilarating. The ultimate in automotive luxury can be yours for $419 bi-weekly. The friendly and knowledgeable staff at Mercedes-Benz Regina will help you find the exact model you want. Take a test drive and feel the difference. Stop by for an award-winning experience at Mercedes-Benz Regina, recipient of the Star Dealer Award.
The 620 CKRM Country Corner is brought to you by Glasses TV, your SaskTel authorized dealer, and Foster's Audio Video in Carlisle. Get the newest cell phone today with an amazing SaskTel rate plan.
Celebrate the grand reopening of McCall Field at Indian Head High School this Friday, September 6th. A ribbon-cutting ceremony, concession, and at 7 o'clock, the Friday Night Lights game between Broadview and Indian Head. The Sukaden Ship Pioneer Village and Museum Threshing Bee is coming up this Saturday and Sunday. The demonstrations include plowing, threshing, rope making, and blacksmithing. A pancake breakfast 8 to 10 each day, located 13 kilometers south of Moose Jaw on Highway 2. And take in the Southeast Summer Market every Sunday from 10 to 2 until the end of September. A variety of local vendors with baking, jewelry, clothing, and more. You can find them on the junction of Highway 6 and 22 as you enter Southie.
For more information, visit 620ckrm.com.
The all-new Sports Cage. Text 306-936-6262. 620 CKRM.
Getting down almost 2 hours in the bag here. If you're tuning in and you missed the keyword for the Engelheim charter trip, giving it away Friday. Vikings, Texans, September 22nd. Bus trip, Engelheim Tours. Oh, it's going to be a lot of fun. The word today was bus. B-U-S. Bus. I am going to get to a couple of your text messages on the Capital Ford Lincoln text line because I do like them. Thanks for those coming in. People with comments on the Rider game, on the hit on Coleros, on Nathan Rourke. No Oiler fans though chiming in yet on that guy looks like Bob Ross that just walked by the studio here, 12th and Rose in Regina. I was like, wow. We are streaming, so everything's live now. You can see the tomfoolery live, sportscage.com. Let's go out and talk to our friend from Flowing Springs Golf Course, Brian Raymond, joining us. Brian, looking at the forecast here, and I know, so the thing is, kids are back to school. Right? So maybe the mom and dad that have a little bit of extra time, and I know some of you don't, mom and dad that maybe has some time during the day, great chance to get out because that forecast looks juicy for the week.
It's funny that you mentioned that because we had a couple of gals out today that, they dropped the kids off for school, took the golf clubs and headed out to the golf course. And we have a great special for ladies and seniors. Mondays and Wednesdays, $37 to come out and play the golf course. So gals, seniors, if you're looking at a way to get away on a Monday or a Wednesday for a fairly inexpensive round of golf, it's only $37 at Flowing Springs.
Why wouldn't a couple girls or seniors? Beautiful, beautiful days coming up here. The one thing we haven't talked about for a couple of weeks, Brian, and I said, because I got a couple of grips that need replaced. You do club repairs out there at Flowing Springs as well.
Yes, we do. We do lots of different club repairs, but certainly regripping is one of our most popular functions that we do out here. And we have quite a selection of grips as well. So, yeah, that's absolutely an option for most folks. And if you have a broken shaft you need fixed, we can do that too.
If a guy or a girl want to get in 9 holes, they still come out because you bumped back or bumped the special there a little earlier too, right, after work?
Yeah, the late night twilight, usually at 6 o'clock, is now 5:30, and as of next Monday, it'll be bumped even further forward to 5 o'clock.
Right on. We see it. If you're watching us on the stream right now, you see the number and a website, but just give it to the people out in Radioland, Brian.
Absolutely. 306-543-5050 will get you on the course. And you can also book online at flowingspringsgolf.com.
All right. We'll talk to you later this week, Brian.
You betcha. Take care.
Brian Raymond from Flowing Springs Golf Course. 2 hours in the books. After the news, we got Glenn Suter coming up. It's the all-new Sportscage on sportscage.com and on 620 CKRM.
It's 5 o'clock. Good evening. It's mostly cloudy and it's 32 degrees in Regina. I'm Corey Atkinson from the Harvard Media News Center with 620 CKRM News for Echo Sound in Fort Capel. Stay connected with the new cell phone from Echo Sound. Call 306-332-6711. And for Kevin's Marine, make the most of summer with a boat or pontoon from Kevin's Marine in Fort Capel, kevinsmarine.com. China's Ministry of Commerce announced an anti-dumping investigation into Canadian canola imports today in response to recently announced tariffs on Chinese-made electric vehicles, steel, and aluminum set to start next month. Ottawa's new EV tariffs follow similar ones announced by the U.S. in the spring, which have yet to take effect. Statistics published by the Canola Council of Canada show China accounted for 75% of canola seed exports from Canada between January and June. The council says China is an important and valued market. The government of Saskatchewan announced today that it will provide $250,000 to the Sylvite 4-6 Regional Development Incorporation for 2024-25. The funding will support growth in the Jansen region, driven by BHP's potash project, focusing on areas like housing, childcare, and economic development. S46 is a collaboration of municipal and Indigenous communities and will also receive $500,000 from BHP over the next 2 years. The total funding of $750,000 will help foster regional development and economic prosperity. Police are investigating the circumstances of a man's death in Prince Albert. Officers were called to an apartment in the city, north of Saskatoon, for reports a 22-year-old was not conscious or breathing. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Police are working with a coroner service to determine the cause of death. Only 1 week remains before the first U.S. presidential debate between American Vice President Kamala Harris and former U.S. President Donald Trump.
Vice President Harris will travel to Pittsburgh Tuesday and stay there until next Tuesday's debate in Philadelphia. A campaign spokesperson tells ABC she plans to make stops while she's in the western part of that battleground state. It's a very different approach than President Biden ahead of his debate against Donald Trump. The president spent more than a week out of public view, huddled with his top advisors at Camp David. The vice president has been preparing for weeks for the debate, in between official and campaign duties, and has done at least 2 mock debates at Howard University, according to sources. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
And the director of a new documentary about John Lennon's only full concert after the breakup of the Beatles knew he needed more to tell his story, so he incorporated television. Kevin MacDonald says he was able to use Lennon and Yoko Ono's own words for the documentary 1-to-1, John and Yoko. The film is playing at the Venice Film Festival, but a release date was not given. It's 5:03, and that was your 620 CKRM News. Your weather is next.
With the success of the recent Apollo space flights, man has been brought another step closer to the moon. Aboard these flights, 3 astronauts, and with them, Top-of-the-line smartphones with all the latest features.
Houston, we've got no problem at all. We're loving these smartphones that we got at Echo Sound, your SaskTel authorized dealer.
Echo Sound, your SaskTel authorized dealer's biggest role isn't in the space program. It's right here on Earth, in Fort Qu'Appelle, or online at echosound.ca.
Summer's here, and if you want to have the best one yet, you'll need a boat from Kevin's Marine in Fort Qu'Appelle. Right now, they are putting folks on the water with the lowest prices of the year, including manufacturer's rebates, dealer discounts, and low payment financing on a fantastic selection of Lund and Four Winds boats, and pontoons from Crest and Harris. Now is the time to save big bucks and enjoy summer. Big savings, big fun, all at Kevin's Marine. Kevin's Marine in Fort Qu'Appelle. Stop by or shop online at kevinsmarine.com.
When you want the best for your truck, you want Line-X. Your truck has withstood the harshest elements Saskatchewan has thrown at it. Rocks, gravel, rain, sleet, and snow, and left with no chips, no rust. Line-X protective coating keeps your truck's bed liners, rocker panels, and bumpers looking like brand new. Don't settle for Brand X. Go with Line-X. It's serious protection. Come see why everybody loves taking their truck to Line-X Regina for their rocker panels, bumpers, and more. Line-X. Make your truck complete. 1865 McCarra Street.
I'm Corey Atkinson with your 620 CKRM Precision Weather, brought to you by Line-X Regina. Serious protection, killer looks, 1865 McCarra Street, and for Matt's Furniture. Visit mattsfurniture.ca. Now here's Precision Weather meteorologist Steve Adamson.
After a hot day about the area today, temperatures will cool down a few degrees for the next several days to more typical readings for this time of the year as a cold front slides through tonight. Some scattered evening rain showers possible in spots, otherwise partly cloudy skies. There'll be some smoke in the air at times tonight. The low temperature near 12, a 30% chance of a few scattered showers around. For Wednesday, cooler and breezy with a mixture of sunshine and cloud cover, the high around 22. Wednesday night, mainly clear skies, the low temperature down to 6. Thursday, a pleasant day with a mixture of sunshine and cloud cover, the high around 22. Friday, mostly sunny skies with a high temperature about 22. And we'll start warming back up again as we head into the weekend. Saturday looks mostly sunny with our high temperature around 29. With your 620 CKRM weather forecast, I'm Precision Weather Meteorologist Steve Adamson.
Across the province at this hour, Saskatoon is 25, Swift Current 25, Assiniboia 28, Yorkton Melville 30, Moosomin Broadview 29, Estevan 31, and Weyburn is 27. At this hour in Moose Jaw, it's cloudy, winds are from the northwest at 21, gusting to 33, and it's 29 degrees. Regina is mostly cloudy, winds from the west at 18, gusting to 28, and it's a province-wide high of 32 degrees right now. Get news and information anytime through the CKRM app or stream online at 620ckrm.com.
He's at it again. Matt sharpening his pencil to save you more money at Matt's Furniture. Want to level up your washer and dryer pair with Maytag? Get the Maytag top load washer and electric dryer set with wrinkle prevention for $1,598. Or get the larger Maytag washer and electric dryer set with quick dry cycle, just $24.98. Purchase either and get a free year supply of Swash detergent. See in store for details. Matt's Furniture in Fort Qu'Appelle, Kamsack, Melville, and Foam Lake, or online at mattsfurniture.ca.
Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents the all-new Sportscage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Brought to you by Sask Lotteries, bringing communities together. Sask Lottery products fund over 12,000 sports, culture, and recreation groups across Saskatchewan. Be a part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The all-new Sportscage. Streaming at sportscage.com and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Yes, we are streaming at sportscage.com. You can go on there, subscribe, YouTube channel. If you want to see the look of the new studio, the look of the new Sportscage, it is awesome. For the last hour here, little bonus time for all you players out there. We're going to be playing Pick the Score. What is the score? Rematch, Banjo Bowl this weekend in Winnipeg. 936-6262, 306-936-6262. It's all brought to you by our friends at SaskTel. Also a chance to win a $200 SaskTel gift card and tickets. Colson's going to award them to the next Rider home game, which seems like a long time from now. But you picked the score for this weekend's game, and you're in to win 2 tickets to the September 20th game against the Calgary Stampeders.
The all-new Sportscage with CFL and Saskatchewan Roughrider legend Glenn Suter is brought to you by Quality Tire. With 9 locations across Saskatchewan, visit qualitytire.ca.
Here we go, Glenn. Face-to-face stuff. The all brand new Sportscage studio here. How do you like the new digs? What does it look like over there?
Yeah, I tell you what, it looks excellent. And I even like that you have Spider Cam, that high shot. You know, we had a little issue with Spider Cam in Calgary. It stopped moving around, and we had to stall the game for 8 minutes, which no one wants to do. But yeah, no, it looks great in there. It looks fantastic.
Talked about this earlier with Dave Thomas as well. With a rash, Labor Day Classic. If you want the keyword classic and you want entertainment, it didn't disappoint.
No, it did not. Lots to unpack there, but the game is just delivering. It just delivers week in and week out, and it did again. I know there were a couple games. The BC game, that was one-sided, a little lopsided, but we're still at around 70% of the games that are being decided in the final 3 minutes. Certainly the Saskatchewan Labor Day, and football is unique in a lot of ways because the mistakes and how you overcome the mistakes are so important in the game of football. And can you make up for the error or the penalty or the fumble, which was massive when it comes to the Sunday game. So, I didn't disappoint at all. Lots to unpack there. Where do you want to start?
Well, first off, I thought Winnipeg came in with a great game plan, and Collaros executed against that zone defense. They Riders gave up a few big plays. Unfortunate, the punt, and Alfred takes a wild bounce. I talked about it yesterday in the show. If anyone's ever tried to catch a professional punt, catching it is hard. Trying to figure out where the ball is going to bounce is next level, Glenn. Yeah, well, no, you can't. I mean, the ball's not round, so it's going to go in any and all directions, and you never know. So yeah, no, that was just unfortunate, and there was a chance. There was a chance to come back and still, maybe push it to overtime. So I think, again, I know we're going to get to should Rider fans be panicking yet. When you look at the West Division right now, there is absolutely no way there should be panic. It's just, correct some mistakes, assume that fumbles like Mario Alford had are not going to happen. That's a one-off thing. And keep progressing and moving forward. Fans can continue to support. They can question. There's no question. Yeah. You as a fan and you pay your money, you can question some decisions and all those things. But hey, the West is still up for grabs. Everybody has a shot here. I think people maybe lost in it, and it was a loss. But for Harris to march that field against that defense, three down linemen rushing, and what they had back there, that was a thing of beauty. Again, it's in a loss, but going in, maybe if we're looking at positives and taking things into the rematch here, that was something to watch. Yeah. Well, that's the potential. That's when you think about Trevor. Again, coming back off injury. Nathan Rourke hadn't played a long time, wasn't even hurt, was 100% healthy. He took 3 games to start showing some form. And, what are we now? For Trevor, we're game 4 coming up in the rematch, I think, from his coming back from injury. So you look at those drives, you look at the quarter a couple of weeks ago and what he put on the board and how he moved the ball, and you say, okay, that's the potential, that's the upside, that's what happens with a veteran quarterback. And, the defense, again, you're right, Zach, and that Winnipeg offense is starting to figure it out. Their defense has led the way for 3 or 4 weeks during this win streak,
but the offense is starting to get there now, and they got healthier when Lawler came back a couple weeks ago. So, you're going to have to play your best. But you know what? Is there an opponent in the West right now? Well, even in the East, outside of maybe Hamilton, who won, but is there an opponent in the league that you can say, yeah, we really just have to take care of the ball, and we should win this game? There isn't. You have to go out and earn it.
Yeah. And that's how it should be. Definitely.
Yeah.
Miles Brown, should he be fined? I don't want to say suspended. What was your take on the hit?
Yeah, I saw the hit, and I think it's important here to remove Miles from the conversation for a sec. Remove the emotion of it away. And if you do that, we can talk about the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is protecting quarterbacks. Now, we've said on this show, in fact, we were having some fun with it, I've been begging quarterbacks to be smart and go down. This, not in this case. Again, we're taking Miles and this particular hit out of the equation for a second. But we have to protect quarterbacks by being punitive when there is a hit to the head or below the knees that is avoidable. Okay, so if there's a hit that's avoidable, and you can tell, this idea that it happens too fast for you to tell if there was some intent. I'm not saying there's an intent to injure, but as long as you're following through with a hit, I used to love to go after Doug Flutie and wanted to hit him as hard as I possibly could. And if he had to miss a few plays, okay, so be it. And that was my mindset. But had I known that if I do that and it's a little bit late and the official can tell that I took an extra step, or I leaned in, or I could have avoided it, and if I knew I was getting a 2-game suspension automatic, I wouldn't do it. Like, it just would not happen. I would err always on the side of breaking down and pulling him down as a tackle rather than trying to run through him. So again, taking Miles' hit out of the thing, I don't think there was any malicious intent or any of that kind of thing. But if we're talking about protecting quarterbacks, I'll put it this way. I'll be surprised in this particular case if Miles is not, if there's not supplemental discipline here, maybe even to a game. And when is the league going to take seriously, I shouldn't say that. They do take it seriously. When is the league going to make the extended hit to the quarterback, high or low, so punitive that players stop doing it? Because we got to protect these guys. It's too important. They're too valuable. They sell our game. The reason that our games are going down and being decided in the final 3 minutes are because of our quarterbacks. Those quarterbacks are making that happen. So we just have to protect them. And now to put Miles back in the equation, let's hope it's not a full game or anything like that. I think there'll probably be supplemental. When I looked at it, I thought he could avoid it. And to me, that's where the line in the sand is.
Have you, and I'm sure you have, but okay, when's the last time, maybe the best way to put it, in professional football, have you seen what Micah Johnson's doing, playing both sides of the ball?
No. You'd have to watch black and white old TV tapes to see that. You really would, because that's outstanding. I mean, but if you know, when you look at Micah and if he just stood there, the D lineman needs a cab to get around him. It's like you got to wave down an Uber or something to get around Micah, because even his arms alone just widen it by a yard. So, good for him. I mean, what a great all-around athlete to be able to do both. And, and again, that's another aspect of that game. When you're thinking about the rematch, it's another aspect of that game that was an issue for Saskatchewan, the injuries to the O-line.
Yeah, curious what they do, who they bring in. Why is it so difficult to win that rematch? Why is it so difficult to win at Princess Auto Stadium? Is it the atmosphere? Is it that back-to-back rematch game planning? They're going in. They're calling it a must-win for the Riders. What's so tough about winning there?
Well, first of all, must-wins are only if you don't win, you're out of the playoffs.
Yeah,
and
true.
So this is not a must-win in my mind. But yeah, they want to stop the skid, no question. What's tough about it is usually, and over the years, you look at the numbers, the Labor Day game we win, and I say we because you asked me to go back to those days.
Black and white TV. You went back. No, just kidding.
Thank you. Exactly. Maybe not that far back. We had color. It was just the old sets. It didn't matter if the Riders had a bad season or were over at the turn at Labor Day. Often the Riders would win that game on Labor Day. So the rematch, after all the emotion of Labor Day, that supercharged crowd, Winnipeg fans coming to the city, all the autograph day, all of the stuff that happens around the game. It's like a little mini mid-season Grey Cup almost. Mm-hmm. And then you win that game, and then trying to get yourself back up and at the level of intensity necessary to win just 5 or 6 days later in enemy territory with all the crowd going nuts there for their team, it seems like a mountain that is so high it's hard to overcome. I think that's part of it psychologically. And players are human beings. So what changes in the dynamic this time is the Riders didn't win.
Yeah.
And that is a bigger motivator to me than crowd or location or anything else. If you're coming off a loss, and the Riders are coming off a couple now, a few in a row here, that motivation trumps all motivations to go out and stop the skid.
Touchdown Pacific. Everything you thought it would be?
Well, here's what it's become, Barney. It's no longer a game where we're looking, I think the league is looking to see if there could be an expansion team in Victoria. Like when it was Touchdown Atlantic, the idea was let's play a couple of games there because we're looking for an expansion team in Atlantic Canada. And that has not gone away completely. It might be down the road, but it's not gone away. I think now, though, this has evolved, and what Amar Doman did in Vancouver has evolved now into this is a franchise in itself. It's kind of like the outdoor games in hockey. Remember when they first started, when you put an NHL hockey game in a football stadium in the middle of winter?
Yeah.
And they were crazy. It was its own franchise. And then maybe the pendulum went too far and they were doing too many and attendance started to drop, so they kind of changed their strategy. But I think that's what this has become now. So we're not going to we'll probably see Victoria again. Maybe not next year, maybe next year. I'm not sure, but we'll probably see it again. But Kelowna is another option. Maybe Saskatoon. Maybe there's 3 or 4 cities now that are calling the league out of Ontario. Laval and Quebec City would love to have a game. I would suggest that we are going to, in the next 2 or 3 years, starting next year, we're going to have maybe not just one, but it'll not be if we have one. It'll be when are we having it, who's playing, and what city are we playing in.
I like all those places that you mentioned for sure. I did do some research. I didn't find any football fields that would be capable of holding it in Whitehorse or Yellowknife, because like I mentioned before, I think those would be fantastic places to hold it. But it doesn't. I think you need to bring in not only stands, you need to bring in a field as well. So that made myself to make that in the video game world.
Well, Barney, with that, you know what? We wouldn't need lights. You could play any time of day or night, and it'd just be
yeah. Hold it in June, 3 a.m. classic. It would be awesome. Okay, lastly, Nathan Rourke. You've been in media a long time. Talked to Dave Thomas. We've both been in media a long time. You got to ask sometimes the most generic and boring questions, and we see it in every sport now. The access to coaches, the access to players, but the TV right holders want that, and they're making the call. I was shocked in what he did there to Farhan. I know there was no malicious intent, but he's taken a lot of backlash. You work for the official broadcaster. What was your take?
Well, first of all, I'm a huge fan of Nathan Rourke. I think anyone listening to me will know. I think he's a first-class individual. This was This was him in a pressure situation after losing 2 games in his return, and then being back home in Victoria with family in the stands and all of that. And it wasn't malicious. It was, I want to get off and get back to my head around the game. But it was something that we're going to work with him on. And what I mean by that is it can't happen continually, because there's 2 things that'll happen. One is every other quarterback and then other players in the league will say, oh, well, if he doesn't have to do it, then I'm not doing it. That's going to happen immediately. And that can't happen. And it's not TSN wanting it to change it. I mean, yes, we pay the rights fees, or someone pays the rights fees at TSN. Certainly doesn't come. But this is the issue, though. We need to sell the game always, and getting to know the players, getting to know their personalities. When you ask them the question in the heat of the battle, getting a little of that emotion, all of those are ways to sell the game. And Nathan knows that. So if he's uncomfortable, and I'm not sure where that level is, or if there's something that we can work together with in the next 2-3 weeks or month, so that he feels more comfortable, but we're going to have to do it again. And if it gets down to he doesn't want to, so he refuses to, I can tell you that our guys, our leadership at TSN and Bell Media will make calls to their ownership and to the commissioner himself, and that would probably change pretty quickly. So I just, and again, I hate saying it that way because no one wants to force someone to do something they're uncomfortable with. But I mean, Nathan's got to figure it out. He will. He's a first-class individual. He's a fantastic human being, and he's a great quarterback. So all of those things is something we want the fans to hear. He's in Victoria. We want to hear from him at halftime, and he threw for 250 in the first half. It was like, Nathan, you can talk about your teammates. You can talk about anything else you want to talk about. It doesn't matter what the question is, really. Just say what you want to say. But it's going to happen. It's just going to happen.
It's back to school day here. Does Glenn Suter have any back to school stories from back in the day from you or the boy or any of the kids or anything like that?
Well, I remember taking my son back, and he went straight to the music room, and I had a flashback of when I would go straight to the gym. So first day of school back, I would miss my classes because I was shooting hoops in the gym or throwing the ball to a buddy or whatever. And, sometimes volleyball too, and all those sports. And then it would take me about 2 or 3 days before we started. And then I'd say, who's my homeroom teacher? Because I've been out on the field looking forward to the football season coming up or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So that was me in school, in the gym, a gym rat all the time.
Yeah. What is it, Josh?
Jared.
Yeah, he's a musician. So right, get in there and play the instruments. That's awesome. All right, we'll tee up the Banjo Bowl when we chat on Thursday. Thanks so much. Hey, the stream worked, Glenn. It's the face-to-face now. This is beauty.
I love it. Great backdrop, and again, spider cam in the studio. That opening shot from above. Look at that.
Wow.
That's top end stuff right there.
I have to wear pants.
All I need is a telestrator. Then I can start, drawing stuff around you.
There we go. Yes, let's get you one of those. April Fool's Day. We'll get that. All right, Glenn, let's catch up on Thursday.
Thanks, Marty.
Press coverage with Glenn Suter for Quality Tire, 9 locations across Saskatchewan. Before we take a break here, I wanted to get to a couple of text messages. We're still playing SaskTel Pick the Score here for the last hour if you're trying to win tickets to the next Rider home game, which is coming up in a few weeks against the Calgary Stampeders. But we want to know the score, what you think the score is coming up here in the rematch of the Banjo Bowl. 306-936-6262. Also a chance to win a $200 SaskTel gift card on that as well. I want to mention some of them were at a long. Tony, shout out to you. Tony wanted to talk about the double standard It seems, when we deliver a hit that's borderline dirty, it's not that long ago the Bombers did it to us. So, yeah, Tony, speaking of Brown's hit, you need to have a better look at the hit. Brown actually rotates his body, so it's not helmet to helmet, but actually hits him with his shoulder. The helmet to helmet was a result of the body shifting from the shoulder hit in the chest. Tony, I totally agree with that, Tony. That's how I saw it too. It does still kind of look helmet to helmet. So I guess if we're on the other side of the fence, we would be saying that. Eli, always a cheerful fellow. I love you. That maybe Calero should stop flailing. All good. Pat chimed in. He doesn't like the Nathan Rourke snub on Farhan Lalji as well. We got why are we wasting timeouts while the clock is stopped with Big Hill on the ground anyway? Getting angry at Coach Mace, wasting the timeouts. Why doesn't he understand the importance of respecting and valuing our timeouts? He does a good job. Impression. Yeah, I don't want to get to that part. But yeah, no, it's a heat of the battle, right? Things happen. You make a call. At the end of the day, the Riders could have won that football game. I'm more concerned on the spot and how they moved it. Also, we talked about it yesterday. I thought we should have more time on the clock than 3 seconds as well when I saw the foul and then what happened. So keep them coming if you want. 936-6262, Capital Ford Lincoln text line. And then that's the same for SaskTel Pick the Score. Yeah, a bunch of you are getting in there now, probably driving home from work. Or if you're out in the field combining, do it there as well. We are streaming on on sportscage.com. So if you're out there in YouTube land and watching, thanks so much. The inaugural stream today of the Sports Cage. And as always, we are on the home of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, 620 CKRM.
The all-new Sports Cage is brought to you by Busy Bee Doors. Busy Bee will repair or replace your residential or commercial garage doors so you don't get stuck in or out. Catch the buzz. Busy Bee Doors, the garage door specialists.
620 CKRM is your home to country's greatest hits and the 90s at 9. 1 full hour featuring the biggest hits of the 90s. Garth, Reba, Alan, Shania, George, and so much more. No cassette tape or CDs required, and 90s mullets are optional. 90s at 9 for the town of Wolseley and the voice of Saskatchewan. 620 CKRM.
Hey Rider Nation, this is Dave Thomas, voice of your Saskatchewan Roughriders. Listen to this. How does a 50-50 payday sound? Sounds like a win to me. Huddle up to riders5050.ca and you can purchase 50-50 tickets for every Rider game, home or away. You can even score quickly with the early bird prize. This week it's a trip to Nashville and you'll be in for the massive weekly jackpots. Buy now at riders5050.ca and support amateur football in Saskatchewan. Sponsored by ISC. License LR 2426.
To get the job done right, you need the right machine for the job. For better hay, the right machine is the 1316 Heston Disc Mower Conditioner by Massey Ferguson. The 1316 Heston by Massey Ferguson is a rugged, high-capacity mower designed for reliable performance. The Massey Ferguson Quick Change Tool makes changing blades easier, getting you back to cutting hay quickly. See the 1316 Heston Disc Mower Conditioner by Massey Ferguson at Nick's Service in Emerald Park. nickservice.com.
It's back! Employee pricing at Capital GMC.
Do you have any idea what this means?
You pay what we pay.
Oh my!
We have 8 billion new and used vehicles.
No, we don't.
Well, we have lots of new and used vehicles, and they're all employee priced. If you need a vehicle, new or used, you pay what I pay.
Right now is the best time to buy.
It's employee pricing.
You pay what I pay.
Employee pricing at Capital GMC.
Hun, I'm starving. What do we have to eat?
Avoid the annoyed.
Western pizza.
I really don't feel like cooking today.
Avoid the annoyed.
Western pizza.
I want lasagna.
I was thinking Caesar salad and garlic bread.
I had my heart set on chicken wings. Avoid the annoyed.
Western Pizza.
Avoid the annoyed with Western Pizza. Big on toppings, big on taste. Dine in or take out. Order today.
Western Pizza.
Okay, the big spelling bee is coming up. You have to be ready. Spell protein.
M-I-L-K.
Incorrect. Spell calcium.
M-I-L-K.
Incorrect again. Spell...
Okay, hang on. Let me take over. Spell hippopotamonstrosis scriptoleophobia.
H-I-P-P-O-P-O.
See, I told you she knew how to spell. She just has dairy on the brain.
Look for 100% Canadian dairy products with the Blue Cow logo. Sask Milk. Love life. Drink milk.
The all-new Sports Cage. Be part of the show. Call 936-6262 or toll free 1-866-767-0620. 620 CKRM.
There's also people getting in on the chat on the YouTube, on the streaming channel. So shout out to you guys. Jake saying the Bombers are whiners. Rough Rider guy. What about the Big Hill head on Patterson? We've had a number of people talk about that. He also says, go Hilltops, go big game with the Regina Thunder this weekend here in Regina. Wayne, shout out to you. The Riders are way overdue for a close victory. You know it. They are. And then what's another one here? Mike, we need a record of 4-2 in the final 6 to get in. 3-3 will be close. Yeah. 4-2 would be nice. I agree. You can always chime in. Those are people watching the stream on the YouTube channel. Thanks to all you, the inaugural stream of the Sports Cage. We're testing it out, working out a few kinks. I think we're all good here, where you can also get us on the Capital Ford Lincoln text line 936-6262. That's where you can play SaskTel Pick the Score as well. If you go to sportscage.com and you were checking out some of the stories there, you can read the story that Dante DeCaria had on the Pats annual blue and white game, which was yesterday. You can read all that. Pats hockey is back. WHL hockey is back. They're into the preseason now. Let's go out on the Western Pizza guest hotline. Always a perfect night for Western Pizza. And we are joined by voice of the Prince Albert Raiders from Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, also known as Paradise. We got Nick Nelson. Hey, Nick, thanks for taking some time today. Things are busy up there, but for you, it was extra busy. You missed some of Raider camp.
Yeah, I did. You guys can hear me all right, I hope. But
we're good, loud and clear.
Awesome. Yeah, I was out. There's a gentleman here in Saskatchewan by the name of DJ McGrath who used to play for the Kindersley Clippers in the SJHL. Used to play for the Everett Silvertips in the Dub. He has gone on a big recovery journey, and that's from alcoholism and some mental health issues. And so he puts on this mental health classic hockey tournament that I was helping host in Kindersley, doing play-by-play in the rink for. And it's really cool, too. You know, he does all these different mental health speakers in between the games for all these kids, too. So it's 3-on-3 hockey, kind of like if you're playing NHL, the video game, and play NHL 3s, it's kind of like that environment, and then there's mental health speakers in between too. And it's a really cool event that we had in Saskatoon and Kindersley this year. So
would have saw some sick dangles 3-on-3. Some of the moves were pulled out, right?
Oh yeah, and I think I counted about, because it's kids as young as like 8 years old. I think I counted about 7 missed Michigans from those kids trying them out, and then in the last tournament, one kid finally got one, and I was like, "Yes, here we go!"
That's great. What a great event and initiative up there. Raider camp continuing, but of course now we're into preseason and all that. How have things looked up there after camp with the squad?
Yeah, so I didn't get to see really any of the inter-squad games there Saturday, Sunday. I was back in time for the green and white game yesterday, and I'll tell you, it was really, really competitive hockey. Saw a goal in the first in the first minute of every single period while they were playing. So it was really good. A lot of young guys in there for the green and white game, not too many veterans. We saw a couple guys there. get into the lineup a little bit. Braden Doobie was a big portion of that game for Team Green there. We saw Harrison Lodwick, he carried a lot of the load for Team White as well. So, you did see a few veterans get in there to just kind of keep that, WHL pace up and give those players, those young guys coming in, a little bit of, WHL experience to face off against. And it was a really entertaining game, really, really competitive. And when I've talked with Jeff Truitt, the head coach for the Raiders, he seems really, really impressed with the level of compete at camp from the inter-squad games right onto the ice in the green and white game too.
What about some young guys that are maybe turning some heads so far up there?
One guy we're not going to see for a little while who really impressed me was this year's second overall pick, Brock Cripps out of BC. He's not going to be with us this year, but he's going to be playing out in St. George's, I believe, out in BC. Young defenseman, 15 years old, and during that green and white game, there was a couple times where he was up against Brandon Doobie coming down the ice and stood him up one-on-one. Played really, really well against him there. I think he's probably going to be an absolute monster by the time he gets to the WHL. Maybe if we're out on that Western road swing and need to call somebody up or something like that, and I could see him making it into the lineup there. And the way he played during that green and white game, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he does find his way into the lineup at all. Ty Mounier was another guy who really impressed me through that green and white game. I think he had for sure I don't know, he didn't have an assist. Sorry, it wasn't credited to him because it was off a rebound, but he was really carrying the play. He was playing mostly with Brandon Doobie throughout the green and white game, and he kept pace with them. He was setting up plays. He was getting a lot of good shots. And I really like Daxon Rudolph as well. Defensively, this kid, he's 16 years old, coming out of the Northern Alberta Extreme program. As a defenseman, 22 goals, 37 points in 28 games last year, and snuck away for a really nice wrist shot goal in the green and white game as well. Had a pretty solid physical presence, but wasn't afraid to stir things up offensively as well. Had a lot of confidence to his game for a young guy, who might is still fighting for a spot, but the way he played, it really looked like he could be finding his way into the WHL this year.
Is it going to be hard for a lot of those young guys, maybe to make the Raiders? Because then I look down the roster of last year, there are a lot of 17, 18-year-olds, 16-year-olds on this squad. So do you expect, a lot of those guys to come back, and then maybe, how many spots for first years or for rookies?
I don't know how many spots there's going to be. And part of that is, I've only been here about a month, missed most of training camp, so, I haven't been around to actually see a lot of these guys in play. But with the conversations that I've had, there's absolutely guys playing for spots. There's a real big battle, I think, especially for our goaltending position for backup goaltender. I think it's going to be Hildebrand's net regardless of who comes back. But we saw a really good battle between Steele Bass at one end and between Cooper Anderson at the other end here for guys who could be that backup goaltender spot for the Raiders this year, which, you need in this day and age in hockey, you need a second goaltender. It's not just one guy's show anymore. You need somebody who you can rely on these road trips, who can take a game away from some of these tough teams out west and stuff like that too, right? So that's going to be an important battle, I think, this year. As for the guys up front defensively, I don't know. There's a lot of excitement around this team going in this year with the trades they've made, bringing in Dragicevic, bringing in Mercic, bringing in Panoka. There's already a little bit of veteran thrown in there with those guys coming in. So I don't know. I can't say what for sure you're going to see for those young spots opening up. I don't think there's going to be many, and I think this team's going to be a really fast team too. I think that's going to be the real strength for the Raiders this year.
I don't know how much you can answer on this, but it just came to mind there. Cruising through to the lake all summer, and if I go the back way there, you go. What's up? What's the latest on the new rink and the new complex there in PA?
Yeah, so I don't really. They're still trying to get the funding figured out for it, from what I understand. There's two rinks actually, I think, going up here in PA. One's got a swimming center in it, and then there's going to be the other one that's where the Raiders are going to be playing. that one, from what I understand, is probably still a couple years away, right?
Yeah.
When some of these draft picks that the Raiders are going to have, come from the last couple drafts are going to be getting into the WHL. So, we might be looking at a real exciting potential championship run while we're just kind of getting into this new rink. So I don't know. I think we're probably a 2, maybe 3 years away kind of thing.
Yeah, well, I see what they're building, and the I don't know if that's the main rink or what it is there. It's massive. It looks really well. So, and then obviously, last year, first round with Saskatoon, the Hildebrand versus Hildebrand was such a cool, just the vibe in the city, right? When a city like Prince Albert, it is a good size, draws from a big area. The Raiders get, if people haven't gone to a game up there, fantastic support. It is a well-supported team.
Yeah, and you know what? I haven't been to a game myself here yet, but the buzz around this community right now, around this team, is exciting. I really enjoyed watching the buzz after the Thomas Marisic trade there, where we brought in Marisic from Medicine Hat and sent out Ryder Ritchie that way, because I was following that from the moment it happened until basically the end of the day. And Ryder Ritchie, a guy who a lot of people are excited about. What are you doing? You trade away your best player. This guy's going to be one of our best guys this year. And then all of a sudden, people started to see some of the highlights coming out from Marisic and started to see the numbers, and people go, this kid's got something here. We might have just improved our team instead. So it seems like everybody's really hyper focused on this team in PA. There's a lot of trust in general manager here as well. And the community here, it's really exciting. Everybody just seems so excited for the start of this season here. You're starting to see those draft picks moving into the Raider lineup now. You've had some exciting moves now. I don't know. There's talk that maybe this Raiders team might be able to sneak in towards that WHL championship picture yet. I don't know if we're contenders yet, but I think it's going to be pretty close, and we'll find out here pretty soon.
We will. All right. Well, we'll keep tabs, and then we'll get you back. Let's see how this season goes. And, Nick, thanks so much for taking some time and hopping on.
Thanks for having me, Barney.
Nick Nelson, voice of the Prince Albert Raiders. We're going to be going WHL camping for the rest of the week here, talking to Saskatchewan teams on the all-new Sportscage. If you're joining us on the stream at sportscage.com or on the home of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, 620 CKRM.
Fall is here and the water is fine. Water Vision Pool and Spas in Moose Jaw is your one-stop destination to relaxation. After a busy summer, the showroom is now fully restocked with hot tubs and accessories. In stock right now, brand new hot tubs starting at only $97.50. You won't find a deal like this anywhere. Once harvest is over, it's time to relax in your brand new Hydro Pool hot tub from Water Vision in Moose Jaw. Get in today while the selection is at its best. The water is calling. Maybe you should answer. Water Vision Pool and Spas, High Street, Moose Jaw.
Don't miss the Sukin and Ship Pioneer Village and Museum Threshing Bee on September 7th and 8th. Admission is just $10 for adults, children 6 to 12 are 5, and a 2-day pass is $16. Gates open at 8 a.m. Demonstrations include threshing, plowing, rope making, and blacksmithing. Catch the tractor pull both days, as well as a pancake breakfast from 8 till 10. Church services on Sunday at 11. The Sukin and Ship Pioneer Village and Museum, 13 kilometers south of Moose Jaw on Highway number 2. Visit sukinandshipmuseum.ca.
Hi folks, Tim here. Now is the time to purchase a quality used Case IH combine from Young's Equipment Incorporated. Did you know that on qualified used combines, we offer an interest waiver and a protection plan? Wow, talk about the total package. But most of all, the peace of mind knowing that you purchased your used Case IH combine from Young's Equipment Incorporated. Priceless. Guarantee a smooth harvest. Check out Young's Equipment today.
Anytime you see something our listeners should know about, call or text us. 306-936-6262. Driven by Capital Ford Lincoln, Saskatchewan's #1 Ford retailer. CapitalFordLincoln.com on 620 CKRM.
Back to the all-new Sportscage. Text 306-936-6262. 620 CKRM.
Welcome back to the all-new Sports Cage. If you're joining us at sportscage.com or if you're tuning in on the radio, that's fine. I know a lot of you guys and girls out there harvesting, getting things in. Again, I want, if you got any high school football updates, any games, I know the week it's starting this weekend, but always text in. Keep us up to date. I'll throw on what I can. I just loved, I love the small town 9-man, 6-man football. Sometimes doesn't get enough love. I want to make sure we're doing that here on the Sports Cage. So I'm going to lean on you guys to let me know what's going on. Like I said, we got a cool story coming up later this week on the new field out there in Indian Head as well. Thanks to everyone who's checking in on the stream and letting us know how it looks. Hopefully it's all that you expected it to be, I guess. Back to the Capital Ford Lincoln text line. Namers chiming in here. Not in the heat of the battle. Big Hill was down for like 5 minutes and Mace called a timeout in the middle. Why? What purpose would that serve? An injury is already a timeout. There was only a few minutes left. And then, Colson, you were bringing up the fact that it was almost at the 3-minute warning, so we would have lost one of the timeout as well, which I totally forgot about.
Yeah, because in the 3-minute warning mini game, you only get one timeout.
Yeah, so checking out, Greg in Flaxholm. We're always telling hockey players not to watch their pass. It's the same in football. We don't want QBs hurt, but if you're going to protect them, everything has to be looked at, not just high and low. A late hit becomes a late hit, period. Yeah, like I said, I watched it more last night and didn't want to say slow it down, but you know, his body does turn, his head turns. There's a little bit of head on head there. I don't think there was malicious intent, but unfortunate. Caleros goes down. Dave Thomas brought up a good point earlier today. If you want to catch it in the podcast later, if you missed it, is that they didn't say concussion. They're saying upper body injury. So he could still play in that 7-game window, which the Banjo Bowl or the rematch would be in 6 days. So like I said, you can catch Dave and all the guests that we've had on the show today in podcast form. Arash Madani. Yeah, Arash is always good for a start. Was it Lucky? The Lucky beers, Lucky Lager, just Lucky Lager that he was talking about from his college days. Yeah, kudos to all you parents today. First day back to school for the kids, getting kids out the door, lunches packed again. The funny thing, this happens in our house. I'm sure it happens in a lot of houses. Luckily now my daughter will make her own lunches and a lot of times for the brother. But I know as a parent, the first couple weeks, I'll say, the lunches that the kids go to school with, pretty nice stuff. We're running, a fruit in there, a dessert. Looks like a meal you'd find on an airplane. I'd say after a few weeks, after a month, it's just hammer a pizza pop into a thermos, out the door, maybe take an apple or some strawberries. I think a lot of parents would be on board with me there. It's hectic. Life gets hectic. And if you got kids miss the bus, you got to drive them to school, especially when it's cold out. Never a good thing. Colson, what was just over 1.2 million?
Yeah, 1.2 million on the 50-50.
For the 50-50 for the Labor Day Classic. Let's go. What do you figure? What do you figure for the Banjo Bowl? Because now you can buy them online. I think a lot of people are still learning that. It's riders5050.ca. You can get your ticket online. If you get it before Thursday at 5 p.m., it's the Nashville Getaway. Flights, 3 nights accommodations in Nashville for 2. You get your 2-stepping on, a little Grand Ole Opry day trip, of course, shuttle transfers. And if you don't want to go to Nashville, which I don't know why you wouldn't want to, it's unbelievable. So if you like live music, Nashville's unbelievable. You can take $4,500 cash. Okay, 1.2 million, Labor Day Classic, Banjo Bowl rematch. I'll let you guess first.
I think it could hit 700K.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to hit $1 million again.
No.
The Bombers 50-50 will probably hit $1 million or whatever they do. Yeah. But I don't think the Riders 50-50 will.
The lineups for 50-50. I saw them earlier and then had some people that were going and getting 50-50s. And I'm like, where did you go? You just missed a quarter of football. And they're like, you have no idea the lineup for the 50-50 down there. So that was a great showing. Whoever won it, like I always say, if I don't win it, I want to know somebody I'm with or somebody I know win it. I haven't heard anything come out there about $1.2 million. A nice little take home from the Labor Day Classic. The betting lines. I thought you were going to have something from Stats Guy here. But the betting lines for this weekend, we have Riders plus 2.5. So 2.5 point underdog. I think take that action all day right now, because if Caleros doesn't play, like
easy.
Yeah, if Straveler's got to play, that line is going to change, I think, for sure. I don't know if Winnipeg, when they will announce or if they will announce it. And then the Edmonton Elks are favored at home against Calgary. Who was it? Arash that said he doesn't think Calgary's going to win another game?
I think that was Arash, yeah. He had a lot of hot takes today.
He did. That was a bold statement. You can go back and listen to Arash Madani as well. The last hour here, we're playing SaskTel Pick the Score. If I go check out that, just to kind of give you some context, a lot of people are still siding with our Saskatchewan Roughriders. High-scoring game. Edmonton Oilers fans, you're happy today. Leon Draisaitl signing a monster deal. We had Cam Moon on earlier. Again, you can listen to that in podcast form. I was really surprised on the term. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to play there for the full thing, but very, very lucrative contract for Leon Draisaitl. Colson, you got Colson's got what Leon had to say today.
I mean, of course, there's a lot of chatter in these conversations and in these negotiations. I think we all know that, but as far as I'm concerned, it's always very respectful and there's no real big hiccups as far as I know, and just what we've built over the last couple of years and how at home I feel in Edmonton. I don't know anything other than Edmonton, and I feel super proud and excited to wear that jersey every single day. And like I said earlier, I take great pride in playing for our city, for our fans. And yeah, I think we're building something really special. And that's just something that, I want to continue to be a part of and hopefully, get it one step further.
Yeah, that's funny. He says the only thing he knows is Edmonton in that jersey. And fitting, we were talking to Nick Nelson today. Draisaitl played for the Prince Albert Raiders. It was an 8-year deal, contract extension, and an average annual value of $14 million, the highest in NHL history. Wild.
And here we were happy to win $600K with the 50-50.
Yeah, well, Leon found his bag in Edmonton. That is huge money. Again, always thanks to everyone who tuned in on our first ever stream of the Sportscage. We're going to be streaming every day, sportscage.com. Everything in podcast form is going to be wrapped up by Colson. Curtis, good job over there on the you see him there on the video stream as well. It was a lot of fun. Let's do it again tomorrow, Saskatchewan. And you are listening to 620 CKRM, the home of the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Rider Nation, the all-new Sportscage is bringing you Cooperators Rough Rider football like never before. Now, for every home game, you can watch the Rider Radio live stream on our Sportscage YouTube channel.